One after the other. DCS and OBS. Why? I installed Banana's livery pack and it just doesn't work. They have awesome liveries showcased in the skin showcase, and then they don't work. I don't get it. I don't get it. OTPs work. I don't know why Alamos don't work. OTPs work. I mean, look, they work. There they are. But Alamos don't work because, you know, what would DCS be when it would just make sense?
Maybe they show up on the next round when they switch airfields. I think we had done some of the other matches where on one round they don't show up, on the other they do when they switch side. Not sure why that would happen though. So it means the skins are there, but
maybe they haven't put them on yet. I mean, maybe I'm lucky and they just haven't put them on yet. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. At least my camera didn't die. At this point, it would probably be better if my camera died. It'd be better. What do we got here? Yeah, see, these guys' liveries work. Why does OTP's liveries work? It's all a mystery. Conspiracy, as Navy Doc says, against Moltar. That is what's going on. But Rob, Gold League 4v4, OTP taking on Alamo Squadron. We're going to talk about who's flying, what they're flying, so on and so forth. So let's look at who's flying what. So Alamo Squadron's rocking 2 F-18s and 2 F-16s. Emperor, Just Emrak, or I'm just going to call him Just, True Metro Man, and Prez representing for Alamo. OTP, or One Trick Pony's got Emperor, Kama, Keel, these names confuse me, and Black Panther. So K, as he will now be known, in the F-14, a JF-17, and 2 F-16s. So, how do you think today's going to go, given what we've seen, what everybody's going to be taking?
Well, Alamo have definitely the SA advantage there. Everyone's on link together. 2 16s, 2 18s. I'm finding the 1 Jeff, 1 Tomcat, 2 16s quite interesting, to be honest.
Why do you think that?
Well, I would assume maybe they didn't have 2 Tomcat pilots, you know, 2 fully crewed Tomcats, but honestly at this point I think 6 Mark 60s might be a better idea than taking a Jeff with only 4 ST10s, and they would actually be able to talk to each other. Sure, I think there's AWACS on this map. Yeah, so there's AWACS for everyone here. So I guess that's for SA, that's fine even for them. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe the Jeff will come and obliterate everything.
So I think, who is that in the Jeff? It's Rudy in the Jeff. So it's not Emperor in the Jeff, as the text said. It's Rudy in the Jeff. So I think the overlays are actually wrong.
Maybe they switch over and around?
No, I think he just didn't change the first name, because you can see Emperor on Alamo Squadron, and then you can see Emperor again on One Trick Pony. That's supposed to be Rudy. So Rudy is the one in the JF-17. Sorry, Rudy, for calling you by your opposition's name. But so you think taking a Tomcat instead of the JF-17 may be the way to go?
Yeah, you get 2 extra missiles, and I mean Mark 60s, right? The SD-10 is a new API missile, so it doesn't have the the wobble of drag that the Phoenix has. But as we've seen, a high and fast Tomcat is very, very deadly when you get those missiles up high energy, because it negates the speed loss from that issue that 54 has. But yes, the Jeff does have better data link.
But the F-14 is a contributor to the link. It just can't see it. Is that correct? Is that how it works? Because it's link 4, right?
No, it doesn't contribute.
It doesn't? It should in real life, though, shouldn't it? It should be backwards compatible. I thought it was link 4 and link 16 was backwards compatible, and link 4 aircraft could contribute to a link 16, but it couldn't go the other way.
From my experience, I don't think every time I've seen something, I've not seen 16s or the 18s get anything from that, if there's AWACS present.
So Riker says it does work in real life, but in DCS, evidently, it does not.
Yeah.
So F-14s carrying 4 Mark 60s from K. They've got the JF-17. I have to agree with you. I think it would have been maybe a better idea to take another F-14 to carry those 2 longer sticks. The Mark 60, I would say, is even better than the SD-10 at high altitude, hitting speeds of Mach 5 plus if the target is at high altitude. But at that medium altitude, I think, well, no, the Mark 60 is just all around better except for guidance.
Yeah.
And the SD-10 turns in a big pile of poo when you get down low. So will that be a factor? I don't know. The JF-17 does have a better suite of systems. It's got a missile warning system. It's got a better, it has an HSD, a data link system in it, but it can't contribute on the link. So like you said, I think Alamo is going to have the better SA going into this match with the 216s and the 218s. Now, given the pilots and what they're taking, do you think the 18s are going to have any role in this? I mean, they're just missile buses at this point. Let me see if they are indeed missile buses. Where are they? Where are they?
Good point.
So here is True Metro Man, and they're not. So Metro Man's actually only taking a center link, 6 AMRAAMs and 2 AIM-9s. So they're not taking all the things like we would think they would be in these matches. So I think, given when this match took place, pre-nerf, I think this was pre-F-16 nerf, I would think the F-16 would have the advantage. Would you agree with that? Given the loadouts.
Not really. Still got 2 AIM-9s, and the 18 is still far superior in the engagements, you know, below 8 miles. They still can get on target quicker, shoot missiles off, have the 10 degrees extra on the radar. I do have to say it's a bit interesting. Why not take the 10 AMRAAMs? You know, you could waste. Well, I say waste. You could utilize the 4 early to push them on defensive, and then just drop the racks. Yeah, you have the pylons, but then you're back to reasonable maneuverability. So quite interesting. Why not just take the extra missiles? Really, the only reason you wouldn't do that if you want to take the wing tanks really for extra fuel, if it's a long range map. But in this case, they'll be fine on fuel.
But why take the center line over the wing tanks?
Well, you don't get the extra 2 pylons.
But he's not using those pylons. I mean, if you look
but that's what I mean.
If you look at Alamo,
there's no pylons.
He's not. So
yeah,
why
so
not take?
So
why not take the wing tanks?
Less
though?
drag. I think overall in the end game is less drag like this.
Is that
Because you
simulated
drop the
in the
center
sim?
line. Yeah, the pylons do matter if you remove the pylons completely.
I'd think you'd want to have the wing tanks be able to stay in gate better, longer, especially on ingress, than you would not having the pylons for late game. I mean, you're already being able to outpull the F-16 with the paddle, so I don't necessarily think minimal drag reduction is going to be all that game-changing, in my opinion. But I've been known to be wrong.
It's better fuel efficiency in the end. Yeah, you guess use more fuel at the start, because there's more drag like that, but in the end game is less drag. But I would arguably say maybe it's more important if it can save your life, and then you can have more fuel in the end.
But
Well,
are you
use less fuel.
But are you gonna have more fuel, because you're actually gonna be having way more fuel having the wing tanks? So I don't know that you'd have more fuel.
But do you need a lot of times you drop the fuel tanks and with quite a bit of fuel in them because you need to get into combat. You want to have the best recommit time. Well, at least that's how you would play if you want to play aggressive. It depends if you're playing aggressive or passive. More defensive, I would say. Depends on your engagement style.
Yeah. I've always carried the wing tanks unless I'm in a merge, and then I'll jettison them. Or if I really need to get rid of them, like if I have to dodge a missile or something like that. I don't know. I'm not partial to just taking the center line. I'm not a huge fan of that. But then looking at Black Panther, before these guys get into the engagement zone, he's got 3 tanks. So OTP coming in here, wanting all the fuel, and Alamo, it's like, we don't need fuel. I don't know what you're talking about. Fuel's not a big deal. At least
But you gotta think fuel game is not that is important anymore. You can just land on the enemy base.
No, now I can see
if you can put that aggression.
I could see it in the F-16 utilizing the center line if they're just going to gate up to altitude, jettison it, get rid of it.
But they're not.
Black Panther doesn't seem to be doing that at all. He's at 300 knots indicated. He's under Mach 1. Doesn't seem to be doing that. So let's take a look again at where these guys are in the bubble. So here's the bubble. OTP is way further into the center of this bubble than Alamo's squadron is, so they're going to look to be much more aggressive And the question I have, and chat and viewers, the question you guys should have is the bubble going to be a problem here for Alamo Squadron? Reminder, it is going to shrink. All right, so this bubble, now that it is contested, is going to shrink 1 mile on both sides every minute. So, seeing how far OTP is into the center of this AO, Alamo may be in pretty dire straits, especially, in my opinion, with the range advantage that OTP has. I mean, the range advantage with the SD-10, I would say, it's there, but it's not like the Mark 60. We're now seeing the first missiles come off the rails. True Metro Man and Alamo's Perez are putting 120s in there, and Perez actually launches, no, it's just the one, launches 2 120s at Black Panther and Coma, and those are from 27 miles and 30 miles, respectively. True Metro Man a little bit further away, and looking at these guys' altitudes as they continue to ingress, Black Panther's still fairly high, and he's serpentining. I think now he's defending. Taking a look at this, he's diving now. Look at that OTP skin. I love that. Diving, so that missile shouldn't be a problem. He responds with a 120 of his own, but these guys are still fairly standoffish, and I don't know if I were Black Panther that I would be wasting a missile from that range on my F-16 when I'm only carrying 6. Rob, what do you think in that situation? Do you think it's worth it launching one of your 6 AMRAAMs from 25 miles in League knowing they're just going to defend?
No, especially not if you're not high and fast. I mean, if you're high and fast, he pushes the guy more defensively. He is, medium altitude, medium speed, not really effective at all. As you can see, it's not doing anything at all.
Right, and he actually launched that on Emperor up here to the north, so that's definitely not going to be a factor at all. And talking about energy states, who's that? Just MRAC is the only one that was over Mach 1. Everyone else in this engagement is subsonic. Well, now K is supersonic, and he launches an AIM-54 from 14,000 feet. It's just not the position that I want the Tomcat to be in, but we'll see if this thing's going to be effective. We shall see by the time it reaches its target if it's going to be able to do anything. And I got to pull up my notes for this match, make sure I don't miss anything. And that AIM-54 is not going to be effective at all. So standoff tactics going on right now. Rob, if you're in this engagement, how do you break this stalemate? What do you do here?
Well, it's quite interesting. I expect Alamo to be more aggressive, but I think they're going to start pushing now, now or ever. Especially doing exactly what Prez is doing, getting some speed and making his missiles count like this. They did take less missiles, but they still can really, they can still press OTP back, because you saw they're a bit more defensive firing missiles from longer range. So I would take that initiative, get closer, knowing that the enemy missiles are not as effective, and then push.
So now we've got missiles being exchanged between Black Panther and Prez again. So Black Panther's already down to 4 missiles. Not sure what Prez is down to, but we're assuming he's going to be down to a similar loadout. We can actually go check his aircraft real quick and see what he is down to. So Prez is going to be somewhere in the middle. Here he is, and he has his tanks on, and he's down to 4 AMRAAMs as well. So people using these 120s with prejudice, firing them early, not really caring about munitions for the late game. Maybe they're just hoping that something connects. But I'm really worried about munitions coming into the late game of this matchup, and if people are going to have anything left, especially with the 2 Hornets having those 2 extra AMRAAMs, or not AMRAAMs, AIM-9s. Are they actually going to play a role here? Very rarely do we see AIM-9s have the edge over the 120, but when the opponent doesn't have any 120s left, or any missiles left for that matter, well, when you got an AIM-9, it's a big old boomstick that you can make some magic happen with. So these guys are continuing to play standoffish. Nobody overcommitting. Emperor and Coma now exchanging munitions from 12 miles, from 20,000 and 5,000 feet. And when you're shooting from high to low like that, I don't really think that's going to be effective. You've got to be within 9 or even 8 miles in that scenario to make that shot work. Just saw a missile come off from Perez again, so now he's down to 3. Prez is down here south with just MRAC, Black Panther. meanwhile doing the same thing. So these guys are having a good old-fashioned missile jousting fight with their 120s, both down to 3 AMRAAMs, and continuing to spend them like they're going out of style. Rudy now ingressing as the JF-17. Haven't seen anything come out of the JF-17 as of yet. He's probably, I would assume, still got all 4 of his SD-10s and 2 PL-5s. Indeed, he does. So there's the Jeff. He's got 3 tanks still on. Maybe this is what they're trying to do, Rob. Maybe they're trying to bait all of the missiles out of Alamo and then allow the F-14 and SD-10 to come in with missiles still on their jets, unload on the unsuspecting enemy aircraft, and at that point they can't do anything but defend and get run down.
Yeah, I have to say I'm quite surprised from the passiveness in this match. I expected at least one side to be more aggressive. Alamo, for taking lighter loadouts. I have to say it's gonna be quite interesting to see, how Rudy utilizes SD-10s later on as he's keeping them, and he's, like I said, he's got 3 fuel tanks, so he's definitely going for that long-term play there.
AIM 54 coming in onto just MRAC, and it's going to be close. She's got some juice. Oh, it gets notched at the very last moment. You saw it pull off of the aircraft. That thing was danger close to just MRAC. We've seen that numerous times from the Phoenix. They get notched at the very last second, and the defender avoids becoming a pile of rubble all over the ground, and MRAC does just that, gets away from that incoming telephone pole at the last moment. Prez now having to defend an incoming 120 from Black Panther, and that's actually a better shot. So here is Prez defending. We can see the 120 on TAC view. It was a better shot, but Prez did a good job. He had enough altitude to do a oblique come down or a split S. He was a little bit not completely vertical to be able to get away from that missile. If he was any lower, that would have been a lot more difficult to get away from because he wouldn't have had the altitude to change directions as quickly. But he's able to get away from it. Now, up to the north, we've got an SD-10 finally coming in onto... Who is that on? It's on Emperor. And Emperor, did he notch it? I never saw that SD-10 become... Oh, maybe it was on Metro Man. I'm not sure. But Emperor could have been in dire straits if that missile was on him, but I can't really tell who that was on. I don't see it anymore. It should be right below him or above him or somewhere. I think it's below him. I think it just went into the ground. But Emperor gets very lucky regardless, as that SD-10 I don't think had his name on it, and he's able to live to fight another day. 120's now being launched from MRAC down to the south onto Kuhl, and Kuhl is already cold. So this could be transitioning into a dragon bag scenario as Kuhl is dragging MRAC into the 2-ship of Kama and Rudy. So let's take a look at Rudy's jet. He is the guy in the SD-10. Here he is. He's only launched 1 SD-10, still has 3 left. He's jettisoned those wing tanks, so I'm glad that he's paying attention to his fuel state. Still has the 2 PL-5s. Just MRAC wisely decided to turn around, as he didn't want to be the only one engaging that 4-ship up to the north. And then we have Emperor over here on the east side, coming in on the right, or the east of OTP, launches a 120. AIM 54 looks to be headed out from Kuhl towards Emperor, and Emperor needs to notch this. Where's that missile? There it is, and I think he may run this one into the ground, actually. He does indeed run that one to the ground, so good defensive flying by Emperor. Now we've got a 120 coming for the tail end of Emperor now. Where's that 120? There it is. 1.8 miles away. And we're going to pause this because I see something going down to the south. We've got a missile coming in onto Prez, and we don't want to miss this, so we're going to go to split screen just in case something happens here. Playing it now. Prez has an SD-10 finally coming off from Rudy, and Prez, I don't think he gets away from this. It's closing. Where is it? It's right there. Just jogs into the backside of Prez's aircraft and makes contact. When you get an explosive that flies into your intake or into your extake, whatever you call it, that is bad news. And Prez, that bad news resulted in his aircraft exploding, which is not something you ever want to happen. Kuhl now up to the north, unleashing a 120. Or an AIM 54, excuse me. Can't tell who that one's going to be on. Looks like it's on the F-18 down low. It's True Metro Man. Oh, he notched it. Oh, it came back. Is he getting away from it? Oh, he notched it again. So good defensive notching being done there by True Metro Man, able to get away from that one. But now just Emrak he's in trouble as he's isolated against 3 OTP pilots. He's exchanging missiles with Black Panther. Black Panther doing a pretty good job of defending Black Panther's missile half mile, and face mile just Emrak is gone. Is Black Panther going to be able to get away? Yes, he drove that one to the ground. So here's Black Panther as he's able to get away from that incoming threat. Now moving on to Emperor. Emperor just launched an AIM-9. Is he out of 120s? He's got 2 120s left. He's got to recognize that the AIM-9 is going to be worthless in a tail pursuit scenario against an F-14 over Mach 1 from that distance. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There goes the 120. Both 120s. I guess he figures, why shoot one when you can shoot them both? So both 120s out onto Kuehl. Is Kuehl going to be able to get away from him? He's fast. He's low. Missiles are 2 miles behind him. I think he's going to be okay. He banked a little bit, doing a little bit of a serpentine. He's got to recognize that he's okay. A little bit of chaff. Rio needs to recognize, hey, we're okay. Missiles aren't gaining on us. Don't need the chaff. Save that for another fight. But Kuehl gets away. He's going to live. And now we've got the 3 ship from OTP seeing if they can make something happen. Down here to the south, they're re-coordinating down here. Looks like they're all going to recommit at once against the 2 ship of True Metro Man and Emperor. We're going to put cameras on True Metro Man and Emperor and see what we can get here. And we're going to put one more onto... Who should we pick? Let's pick Rudy. All right, we'll bring up TACV so we can watch all this go down. So we've got Rudy, True Metro Man, and Emperor currently being shown on screen. Rudy just launched an ST-10. So ST-10 off from Rudy, fired from 6,000 feet onto Emperor. Emperor needs to be careful. He's turning into this threat. There is the ST-10 coming up at 10,000 feet, coming down 2 miles. This thing's got some juice over Mach 2. Did Emperor wait too long to try and get a threat off? Half mile. Emperor is gone. Here it comes. Rams into his aircraft. Emperor, last man to go down, leaves True Metro Man all alone, and now he's getting caught high with his pants down. 120 coming in. Does that have his name on it? I think so. And True Metro Man succumbs to the incoming missile from Coma. 4 pilots left, Rob, from OTP.
Yeah, the OTP did good. They dragged back. They saw that Alamo there were a bit too far away to basically, be able to push in time, and they just kept the coordination up and just basically grinded them to death.
All right, let's see if we can get this to work. So I'm going to start an online debriefing.
Mm-hmm.
Here is my IP. And
just loading up the
you could probably just use the normal DCS ports, would be my guess.
Okay, why can I not let me try. I can't cancel now, it's stuck. Thank you, TACV.
Loser.
Try again.
Loser!
10, 8. Yep.
You're in. Can you drive?
Yes.
Let me make you the instructor. All right, guys, so we're going to check out what's going on with Rob. He's going to do an online debriefing. I figure getting a second opinion on everything after I do the casting would be pretty cool to do. So Rob's going to take us through the online debriefing. He's back. What are you doing?
I just made it go to the start. I'm just trying to see if there's any lag or anything, because I am from EU into NA.
Shouldn't be
Oh,
much.
it looks weird on stream. Oh, I'm not doing that actually. Whoa, what was going on there?
It'll fix itself. I'm doing
Alright.
a real-time telemetry, so that may be why. You should be good now, though.
Oh, yeah. Alright. Okay, cool. So, yeah, it's a interesting setup from Alamo here. We talked about how they took less missiles, which they could have definitely used to their advantage to push OTP there having a Jeff and a 16. I think, oh sorry, 2 F-16s, especially when I have 2 Hornets. And obviously the 16 has more missiles than the Jeff. So there could have been a massive missile advantage here, but they decided not to take it. And we can see both teams kind of using missiles from a long range, not really making them too effective. I think one of them goes satellite hunting, as we can see here from True Metro Man, and only the one from Prez tracking. The better shots than the one from Black Panther, for example, because that one just went nowhere. It was too out of energy. But then what I expected to see was probably Alamo be more offensive here, but we can see they just turned cold doing this grinder. Probably thinking they still have the missile advantage, but I think they're keeping too far away. They're still 24 miles here, 19, 20 miles away from the enemy here, and they're trying to do this grinder. And I think after this, it can be a good idea, but after this second bit, I think everyone should try to unite and create a wall to push. As that way they can keep the pressure up when these enemies get closer here. If, for example, if they were here united and pushed, they could have put OTP into trouble, especially with that Tomcat not firing any missiles and defending that 120 now. And then basically having no separation from each other here. If there would have been a massive push from Alamo, that could have been a lot more deadly. But they keep doing this grinder, and sometimes if you just keep doing the grinder, it's just going to end up who conserved their missiles better in the end game. As we saw, Alamo, I think we're down to AIM-9s at some point on the Hornets. So those extra AMRAAMs could have really been beneficial for them in the end game. You can see here, he just notches that AIM-54 there. That was good notching from him. That snap notching and saved his life. And here once again, they're getting closer, but they just don't want to push. They want to take that initiative and go in. They just keep grinding away, keeping too much separation, and then here they're a bit too close. Since once you get too close, there's not much. You don't have time to recreate the grinder. You are forced to do a push. But now they keep the grinder, and then it gives time for OTP to create some more composure here. We can see that we got the F-14 hot here on Emperor. The Rudy is resorting onto the right guys, so that's better solutions. And then we have here, we just see these two guys just changing sides and recommitting on the other side, and just a lot better coordination from OTP than Alamo. Who scores the kill here? It's the SD-10. So Rudy takes down Prez. Prez really took his time defending. He probably thought the Jeff is kind of being a lot more conservative, but then the Jeff started kicking into action here. Very deadly SD-10 here. I don't know if I can click it. It's going away too quick. This is dangerous position here. 8 miles. The SD-10 of its burn time is kind of like it's the same problem as Phoenix. You can't really get away from it in time. I think he tries to go cold, but defending 6 miles here. Yeah, he doesn't have time even to drag that one into the ground. He's kind of burned. And he pulls up. Maybe he could have dragged into the ground if he was more aggressive. If I hit on the ground. But Rudy scores a kill there. Just really good coordination, honestly, from OTP here. They're kind of keeping together. Almost like communicating. They want to get rid of this flank here, so you got 3 people on one. The F-14 now is dragging Emperor and Metro. They take out the last guy on that flank, and then it's time just for all of them to converge onto the last 2, and then basically just, once again, they slowly grind them out. I'm not sure what Emperor did here. Wasted his last 2 120s on Q here, but I'm not sure why. Maybe that was a misclick. It is kind of easy sometimes in the F-18 to just double tap missiles. Because there's no trigger delay. So there might have been a mistake there. An accidental discharge. SD-10, that one's he defends from that one most likely. Well, it's not tracking him, I don't think. Oh, it is. It's pinging him. And then from now on, we can just see the rest of the guys just come in and basically clean up, because they're a numerical advantage of 2 versus 4. So what I would say for Alamo here is to bring more aggression. They took a bit too long, and if they take those 10 AMRAAMs next round, they can really just put too much pressure onto OTP here, and then push them to their side of the bubble. You know, the bubble is shrinking this year, so that's a bigger danger. And then they don't have to worry about fuel. Just take the center line, use it, dump it, and then you just land at the enemy airbase. So there shouldn't be any worries about their fuel state.
It seemed like, Rob, that the weapon restriction that they ran into of not having those extra AMRAMs, those 4 extra AMRAMs on the Hornet, actually did come back to haunt them, because
Yes, indeed.
Kuhl was able to run away from the F-18. I think it was Emperor, fired 2 AIM-9s, 2 120s, maybe out of just...
I really don't know what happened here with his 2 120s. I have to assume this is a mistake. This is just an accidental discharge from, I don't know, maybe a loose connector in his HOTAS, or it just happens. That happened to me loads of times where, for some reason, I somehow shot 2 missiles at once in the F-18.
I kind of wonder if he did that out of spite, like he knew he was going to die. He's like, screw this, I'm just going to shoot everything I've got to try and bring somebody down with me. But you've got to recognize that when you're that slow and your opponent is co-speed with you, a 5-mile 120 shot is not going to catch your opponent at low altitude. It will at high altitude, but it will not at low altitude. Especially because Emperor wasted 2 missiles there. He could have possibly taken down Rudy in that situation that we see on TAC view right here. Like, if he would have launched and waited to fire at Rudy, Rudy's head on instead of cold, instead of a tail chase, Rudy could have died there, and it could have been a different outcome, but instead Rudy's allowed to send in an SD-10 unopposed, and I think Emperor eats that in the face.
Here as well, actually, I think what happened here, why we see him defend so late, is because he's not getting a turn on the M9. He's waiting to get a turn, he has that missile warning, gets a turn finally, and then defends, which ends up being his demise. If he had the last 120, he probably would have fired much sooner, as soon as he got the warning, defended that SD-10 and survived.
But again, he launches the AIM-9 on a cold contact.
No, he tries to get a head on. No, I think we can see what happened.
He was cold when he launched it. You back up.
Oh, you're talking about the previous engagement?
No.
Here.
I thought that was
cold
when he launched. No.
No, here he's hot. He's hot of the F-14. He really is trying to get a turn. He doesn't get the turn on the M9. He realizes it's late. He just shoots it off, probably without a turn. This isn't tracking.
No.
This is 1G. This is 1G. This is dead off the rail. And that ends up being his demise, leaving his teammate alone. So if it wasn't a mistake, and it was on purpose, the 2 AMRAMs earlier, that really ended up haunting him in the end, because he could have shot a 120 gun defensive and survived that SD-10, and at least would have been alive with another AIM-9, which could have unfavorable, you know. But the enemy team is going to start running out of missiles as well, so it might end up somehow magically as maneuver kills. Maybe someone makes a mistake, and then from there on, it could loads of things could happen from there on. Right. But then it ends up being in a situation where True Metroman's left in a 1v4.
Yep.
Without any missiles left.
And that brings us to the end. True Metroman gets hammered, takes one, he bends over, and there's the stick coming right for his behind, whether he wants it or not, unlubricated. He goes down.
Yep.
OTP comes out on top with 4 pilots remaining. Count them, 4 pilots remaining. They suffered no losses in the opening round against Alamo. So OTP showing some prowess in this one.
Yeah, I have to give him to him. I think that the coordination was good. It was really good.
So we're going to move on to round 2. I'm going to send you guys back to the Supercut and the Skin Showcase so I can have a few minutes to get round 2 ready to go. When we get back, round 2, OTP against Alamo. Will Alamo be able to come back? OTP taking on Alamo Squadron in a Gold League standoff. OTP, well, it's really not a standoff. OTP annihilated Alamo from the get-go. Rob, what does Alamo need to do here? I mean, they seem to not be aggressive enough. We've talked about before that 4v4 is a format that you have to be aggressive. If you're not aggressive, you run into situations where the other team's aggressive and you just get run down and taken apart. Alamo seemed to have several opportunities where they could have utilized aggression and gotten some easy kills, but they seem to not be able to do it. They wanted to stick to that grinder, the safe maneuvering that they were doing, that they all knew, and OTP was able to find some openings and able to capitalize on a couple opportunities, and that was enough to start the things falling downhill, turn into an avalanche, and OTP didn't lose anybody.
Yeah, I think like you said, that they definitely had a lot of times where they could have united together and basically transformed the ground into a wall and cause some aggression. And from then on, depends how the enemy team reacts. If they try and keep that coordination, or you're being aggressive, they're not going to be able to keep it as well as they did. I think the coordination would start falling apart gradually from that aggression. So can we see if Alamo are taking more AMRAAMs this time, or are they sticking to their guns with
We
the light
can.
loadout?
They are taking more. So
Uh-huh.
I can see 10 on True Metroman's aircraft. Emperor's not rearmed yet, so you guys can see this right here. Metroman is on the left, Emperor is on the right, and Metroman's got 10. You can see the 2 dual racks on the 4 dual racks on his Hornet. Nothing on Emperor yet. He's got the centerline fuel tank on. There's the AMRAAM. So it looks like he's got him on the inboard pylon. So I'm going to assume that he's taken 10 now. I think. Let me move over there and see what he's got.
Assume so.
Yeah, he's got 10 now. So maybe they
All right.
realized that 6 wasn't the way to go, and taking the extra 4 AMRAAMs instead of depending on the 2 extra AIM-9s is better. I think it's better. You do have a drag penalty taking the extra dual rack, 2 extra dual
drop
racks.
them when they're empty.
You can, but flying in, your ingress speed is going to be a lot slower than it would normally because of that extra drag induced by those extra pylons.
You got the 16s to do the aggression initially if you need to.
That's true. That is true. Just Emrak Prez leading the way for Alamo Squadron, followed by True Metro Man and Emperor in the F-18s. And then we have Keel, Black Panther in the F-16 and F-14 taking off for OTP, following Rudy and Coma in the JF-17 and the F-16. So did you like the choice, Rob, of the JF-17 in round 1? I mean, it seemed to do well. He got a couple kills, but do you think it was worth it? Do you think an F-14 in that situation could have gotten the kills as well?
Honestly, I think the way they played, no. I think the Jeff was a better idea in the end, actually. They have the F-14 to really do some more longer range stuff if they need to. Then the Jeff, if that SD-10 sneaks from below you like that burn time on that SD-10 is gonna really haunt you, as Perez found out. Maybe he didn't see him, maybe AWACS didn't see him, no one saw him, so he sneaked up on him. Or maybe he got overconfident thinking he can probably run away or drag the missile into the ground, which wasn't the case. So I think keeping that Jeff there and not wasting the missiles initially. You can catch people off guard at the start of the game and kill people with SD-10s or Phoenix, for that matter, for either. But I think that was really well played from them in that round. Utilizing them, when they're basically on the same missile state as the Hornets, and then it's fair game then. You've got equal amount of missiles and superior missiles.
Now, what's the burn time on the SD-10?
Longer than 120C. I can't remember the top of my head, to be fair. In seconds. I might be able to bring up the Lua in time. I think some Jeff pilots in the chat can probably tell me that, or tell us that. Sorry.
Sin 6, do they get AWACS? Yes, they have AWACS in this mission. How it works, though, in the overall competition is there's many different missions that the teams can choose. They go through a mission banning process before each one of the matches, and the AWACS are randomly assigned to different missions, so they're never the same. So they're randomly assigned before the mission banning process, and the teams go through and ban. So if you wanted AWACS, theoretically, there's +1 missions with AWACS. So if you want AWACS, you'll always get a mission with AWACS rather than not have it. Last year, it was +1 to not have AWACS. This year, it's +1 to have AWACS. So if you want AWACS, you'll always get it, unless you screw something up.
Found it here. I think it's a boost time of 6 and a march time of 4, so 10 seconds in total.
What's the
for the SD-10?
AMRAAM?
About 5. I think it used to be 6, but I think it's like 5 point something on the sea, or 6. It's in that area, 6 something. Get that one up as well. But yeah,
White Widow,
obviously
too long?
the 54.
Too long what? Too long for adulting? Adulting just gets in
No,
the
the
way of
burn
everything.
time.
Oh, the burn time.
He's talking about the burn time, yeah.
Aim 54, 27 seconds of goodness.
Yep. So imagine when that gets updated to the new flight model and stuff. Oof. And yeah, I looked up to because I was surprised people have found some documentation. It's going to be nasty because the 54C is definitely going to go active on its own. So it's just going to be a big boy AMRAAM.
Well, it won't have the seeker that the AMRAAM has, so
No,
theoretically it
it's a
should be a
worse
lot easier to
seeker.
notch, but the guidance does
Yeah.
need some help.
Oh yeah. But I only said that matters a lot because a lot of times you just lose that. It allows you to get longer range shots a lot easier and safer now. Yeah, it's not a Mark 60, you know, we're talking about a Mark 47 motor, be it is an upgraded version of it. But yeah, that's definitely going to make the Tomcat a more interesting pick when that gets updated. Hopefully this year. Hopefully we might see it this year.
Hashtag 2 weeks.
The classic.
Now, Alamo's doing something really interesting here. They are, give you guys a view on TACView. They were all together and then they all split apart in like this starburst formation. Just MRAC and Prez and the F-16s are now leading. True Metro Man and Emperor and the F-18s are now trailed. I don't like their energy states. I'm not a fan of their energy states. I don't think the F-16s are fast enough, and the F-18s definitely are not fast enough. You're going to bank turn like this, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, be gentle on the jet. Try and maintain that energy as you go through the turn instead of just raking on the control inputs, bleeding all of your energy as you turn around. I mean, we saw True Metro Man go from like 0.8 Mach now down to 0.6. He's back up to 0.7. But you're bleeding all of that energy that you've gained up, and now you're having to go and get it again before you start pushing past where you were before. Alamo, Perez, and just MRAC are now through Mach 1. So hopefully they stay in that position. Continue to accelerate. Passing 35,000 feet. Over on the OTP side, Black Panther and Kuel, 30,000 feet and just below. Mach 1 and below. Man, Rob, it hurts my heart that the F-14 is not faster. Should it be faster with 6 Phoenix? It can it? I would assume so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can go very subsonic with 6 Phoenix. I think it's because, as we've seen again, they're doing a grinder as well. We're doing a different one because instead of having 2 Hornets, they have a Jeff and a 14. So we're going to definitely see more of the same round, the same stuff we saw in round 1 from OTP. And we should hopefully see an improvement in aggression from Alamo here. So we have to see how OTP counteracts that aggression.
Here's that lead AMRAAM up at 60,000 feet, Mach 2.8, coming in on Panther. It is tracking. This thing is tracking, so this could do some damage in this situation. Just getting my notes back here. Could do some damage as it continues to press towards Black Panther. Black Panther is coming in from left to right. He's behind the TACView screen. Missiles now down to 1,200 knots. Still got some juice. Now Black Panther is in a full cold motion as the missile's now in pursuit, trying to run him down. Black Panther's pretty slow. 0.9 Mach. Missiles continuing to close. Mach 1.4 for this missile. Still closing. But Black Panther is going to get away from it with those last-ditch effort serpentines. Good decision right there to bleed the missile out of energy. I like that. I like it a lot. More 120s coming from Alamo Squadron. So, Rob, I got to say, the extra 4 AMRAAMs that the Hornets are carrying, I think are going to be a big benefit for them.
Yeah, I'm just, I think it would have been better if they took, those F-16s are going for a grinder again. Maybe they're going to do 1 or 2 rotations of that and then they're going to push. I would hope they push sooner. What I would have liked to see was for them to basically, the left one to go left and the right one to go hover right and start like a flanking, like not go into the notch and start being more aggressive and come from a flank and basically create this bigger wall, the 2 Hornets in the center, and push from there on.
So Rudy is who one of those missiles was on. He's okay. He's trashed it. I'd like to see him stay hot. We'll see if he does that. But both teams seem to have an adversity to pressing in on a cold contact. They're fearing the unknown. They're fearing the unseen. And I think they're always making the assumption that there's a threat out there that they don't see, which I can't fault them for too much. But if you don't take a risk, nothing's ever going to happen, right?
Indeed.
So Rudy staying hot here. See him on the tail of just MRAC. Move the attack view down so you guys can see it. Just MRAC over here, Rudy right here. But he's back and forth. Maybe he's just scanning?
He's going for Perez here, maybe.
Maybe. But maybe he recognizes that just MRAC is full cold. He's not going to be able to run him down, so he's trying to make something of any of the hot contacts. So he's hot on the hot contacts, but I'd like to see him in gate, Rob. These guys are not going into these fights in a high energy state. They're going in and just kind of a brisk walk or a jog. They're not going into them at a sprint, and they're leaving a lot on the table, in my opinion, trying to go into these fights at Mach 0.8 instead of trying to make something happen at over Mach 1 or 1.1 or 1.2.
Yeah, and this Alamo still being a bit passive here.
Both teams are being passive. Both teams are being very passive in this situation. Black Panther now dragging an AMRAM up here to the north. But I do like that Kuehl is coming in to support him. So Black Panther is cold. He's flown down low past Kuehl. There goes, well, that's the AMRAM that Black Panther's dragging. Black Panther's back there somewhere. But I like that Black Panther was cold and Kuehl was hot. AIM 120 now being launched from Perez onto Kuehl. Kuehl responds with an AIM 54 out onto Perez. That's a decent AIM 54 shot if I've seen one. Perez needs to be very aggressive in defending this. Where is he? He's low. So Perez is in the right position to defend against that AIM 54. We're going to go to split screen because there's missiles going on to both of these guys. Air breaks out from Alamo's Perez as he notches this AIM 54. There's the AIM 54 flying headlong in front of his jet. So great maneuver by Perez. As soon as he recognizes that missile's defeated, brings the air brakes back in and goes back into a hot approach. I like the aggressiveness that Perez is demonstrating right here. I like that. This is what Alamo needs to do, in my opinion, to make something happen in this match. Now, we have an SC-10 being launched from the south from Rudy. Can't tell who that one's on, but here's that SC-10. Is it tracking still? It is tracking. It's on the Metro Man. It's at 1,000 knots and slowing down rapidly. So it's going to try, but I don't think it's got the juice to pull out of this dive, and into the ground it goes, detonates on the Jordan countryside. It is gone. Now, going back up to the north, Black Panther is running from an AMRAM. Well, he's run from that AMRAM, so we don't need to look at him. And looking back at Kuehl. Kuehl now head on with Emperor. AIM 54 out from Kuehl. It is a Mark 60. That's probably going to be on Emperor. Emperor going to split screen here so we can see both of these guys. Waits to get it at 120 off. Emperor's at 16,000 feet. So if ever there... Oh! That AIM 54 actually isn't tracking Emperor. Emperor just flew right by that AIM 54, and if that was on him, he would have been in a big, big trouble. Oh! But Kuehl flies into the ground defending the AMRAMs from Emperor, so the missile spam, let's pause this and look what's going on. The missile spam that came from Emperor that was allowed by those extra 2 dual racks that he was carrying forced Kuehl into a defensive posture, and he flew into the ground. So let's back up and see what happened there. So here is Kuehl, and they are flying at 7 miles, and Emperor just keeps shooting. So there's a 120 from under 7 miles, the one that just came off of his jet, and Kuehl's defending. He may have blacked out during that turn and flew right in the ground. So Emperor's multiple missile assault onto Kuehl, I think, worked very well. But now looking at the current situation, Emperor has to deal with Black Panther. And Black Panther is in a great firing position. He's fast, and he's close to Emperor. Emperor's not all that low. Emperor is inside 8 miles. He's at 12,000 feet. Black Panther is low. Black Panther is already defending after having launched that missile. So let's take a look at how this is going to go down. Here we go. Black Panther on the right, Emperor on the left. Missiles being exchanged. And actually, some of these missiles have picked up Black Panther. Black Panther, I think, is going to be able to drive these into the ground, but Emperor, I think, is too high, and without a prayer gets hammered by the incoming AMRAAMs, and Black Panther, doing an excellent job of defending those incoming missiles, is able to get away. And now down to the south, we have Rudy picking up the torch, coming in onto multiple Alamo contacts. He's 1v3 right now. It is 3v3 overall. ST10 low to high against just MRAC. Here's that ST10, and just MRAC is getting caught. He's not going to be able to defend this easily. He's trying to dive, and the ST10, I think, is going to hit him. Rudy, I just saw take a missile, but he's going to be able to get away from that. And MRAC's going to be able to get away from this missile. So Rudy took a missile to the face, but lives on. He was probably in a bank turn, launches this ST10 up at the Prez. Prez is going to get killed. Prez is gone. The AMRAAM that he launched is actually on Coma, and Coma is defending over the top. I think Coma's going to be okay. So here's Coma defending that incoming missile, and we've got a missile coming in onto Metro Man. So putting these guys onto split screen, missile onto Metro Man. Metro Man now recommitting into this missile. 0.2 miles. Metro Man, oh, Metro Man gets taken down by the slow incoming threat from Black Panther. Black Panther able to take him down. And going back to look at the last remaining aircraft of just MRAC, he's got Rudy on the left, Coma on the right. What can he do here? He's just launched a 120 out onto Rudy. Here is that missile, trying to run down Rudy. Rudy 2 miles away from that threat, but Rudy's actually just going to recommit in front of that missile. No, he just went into a little bit of a turn. So Rudy, here's Rudy in the bottom right corner defending that AMRAAM, and now we've got just MRAC having to defend a 120 launch by Coma. That missile's going to be low to high. Where is it? I don't see it yet. Where is it? It's going to be on his right. It's somewhere. It's right here. It's right on top of him. Did it fly underneath him? It just flew underneath him. And now Rudy is coming in from the front, and just MRAC gets hammered by the missile from Rudy. The ST10, I think it was. Yeah, he's still got the 2 PL5s. And Rudy gets the last kill, so both him and Black Panther get the double kill, and their only loss was due to Kuehl flying into the ground. So that was really unfortunate on Kuehl's part, but great job, I got to say, by Emperor, keeping up the missile spam on a defending target. If you do that, guys, if the target is defending and you keep launching and you have the available munitions to do so, he can never stop defending if you space the missiles like Emperor did. So more than likely, one of those missiles was going to connect. Kuehl did the job for those missiles by flying straight in the ground. But I got to give credit to Emperor, if I'm going to give it credit to anybody on Alamo, for that situation. I think the extra munitions that he was taking, those extra dual racks, did a great job. Let's do the online debriefing here, Rob. Should have turned that on. There we go. So that's being hosted. Go ahead and join, and I'll turn it over. There you are, instructor, and it'll probably spaz out because we are doing a real-time telemetry, so go ahead and fix her here.
All right, let's see. Are we good now?
It's spazzing. You'll get a spaz here in a moment. But chat, what do you think happened there? I got to give credit to OTP for capitalizing on those situations. It seemed like they very often, we'll see it here in the TAC view, went into engagements with a multi-ship advantage. Now, that could have been simply due to the fact that Alamo was out of pilots, but it seemed like that's what they did. So let's turn it over to Rob here. Let's see what the tactics looked like for both of these teams as things continue to unfold.
I think it's all good now, yeah?
Yeah, you should be good. Turn this
all
down.
Right.
There we go. So Rob, let me know what you think. Take us through.
Well, as we said initially at the start of that round, very good to see the 10 AMRAMs on the Hornets, especially if they want to be more aggressive, which they were in the end, comparing to the first round. So that was
Emperor
very
did a
good.
great job of showing that.
Yeah. So, more initial aggression. I can't remember if they did this on the first round. You know, the higher and faster 16s going in, pushing in. So that's good. You know, we want to put some pressure on the lead guys, the two most dangerous guys, say, because if you don't shoot on these lead guys, then they're just going to push onto you if they want to capitalize on that. So obviously that's good. Interesting that they went for a crisscross. You know, I guess that kind of confuses them. Well, it would confuse you, but oh, the missiles came from that direction instead of what's going on, you know? So that's very good for them. So as I said, that was a good choice if you want to confuse your enemy a bit more. They'll be safe, they'll be defending, but that's going to cause some more confusion. And then if you keep going, if you go on a bit later, we can see that OTP can send some missiles here, but didn't shoot at the start. That's good. They probably know, you know, they probably thought in the first round that the 18s were taking 10 AMRAMs. But, you know, they definitely should be thinking that in the second round. And, you know, they decided to conserve some missiles, especially for the F-16s. Very good choice. You don't have many missiles. You're already at 6 missile disadvantage if you consider the AIM-9s from the Hornets. Then we can see OTP doing a bit of the same. I mean, pretty much the same as last time. You know, keeping composure, kind of keeping their grinder up. They do a good job of keeping together, as we've seen. You can see here we have Coma and Rudy keeping like an 11-mile separation. That's good, especially if you wanted to do this type of thing, because then when this guy defends, you know, you're right there to support him. The enemy can't push you. So very good from OTP there. There we can see these three from Alamo, Perez, True Retro, and Emperor, all hot here. Just Emrak, I think he was more passive this round. I'm not really sure why he was doing that. But these three from Alamo here, really doing what they should have done in the first round and start pushing. So they do like a mini grinder here. We've got True Retro who goes in first. Perez is really trying his hardest there on his own to fight the two guys on the left, Black Panther and Q.
Now,
Killu?
Rob,
I'm not sure how to say his name.
Interrupt you here just for a second to talk about the grinder. I think people with the grinder get this in their head that you have to have one hot and one cold in the grinder. In my opinion, the more effective grinder in this situation is you want to have depth to your formation, right? So you want to have, if you go cold, you want to have somebody that's behind you that can be a potential threat on anybody that's trying to run you down. So you pass him, or at any possible opportunity, you recommit with your wingman. The idea behind this is that you always have somebody that's hot. Regardless if you have anybody cold, you always want to have at least one person hot. In that way, so that you have some type of potential threat on the opposition. And I think what we see from Alamo is they get into this grinder situation and they don't recommit as quickly as they could have, and it ends up on them being the receiving end of the aggression. So, Rob, I'll let you go back into that.
Yeah, so here they could have done that grinder, how you said. You know, these two guys could have kept hot, and just Emrak could have turned around here and basically created that a bit of a high separate. Actually, by the time he turns around, he's probably about, what, 13, 14 miles. So, yeah, you always want to keep someone hot. If you don't have anyone hot, then you're really going to have an issue. I think Coma and Rudy are kind of setting up good here. You know, they have some separation here. I think Rudy decides to be a bit more defensive. But this type of separation, when you got these guys hot, I think is good. Yeah, they could fire on the rear guys, but the rear guys would have a lax time defending. So I think from OTP this is good. And they're kind of doing the same here. You know, this guy's turning hold, this guy's hot now. They're keeping that presence up. So it's going to be hard for Prez to ever really get close, because he's always going to be fighting both at the same time, essentially, one after another. And we can see that here, he has to stay defensive, and then this guy's hot, and he engages him, so that's really good from them. And then this guy's hot again. You can't do much against that on your own. And I think they noticed that, and they kept it up until they could grind them to a halt. Finally, just like we saw for change of pace here from Alamo from first round. Being more aggressive, present retro here. They try and push in, but they keep getting held back by the good grind and coordination from OTP, just like in the first round. You can see here the Emperor does get the jump on the Tomcat here, which, as we saw, made him maneuver kill by keeping the pressure on him, like you said, spacing the missiles out. Probably If he fires one on Black Panther as well, keep an aggression on him. That's good. Always do that. If you see the other guy recommitting, shoot on him. You can possibly get a missile off him. He doesn't see you in time and start defending before he shoots you. So very good here from Emperor to keep the pressure on. He's now in a 1v1. And Alamo here, because of that, now I have the advantage on the right side against Rudy and Coma because they have the numerical advantage. Although Emperor does get taken out here, defending too late, so that's nullified in the end.
I don't know that it's him defending too late. I think he was too high.
If you defend here, he knows he's turning hot. So like, you know when he fired a Samram here and he sees he's hot, you don't keep flying towards a target like this, he does, because this is what I mean by he's defending late. By now he's keeping straight. He reacts to what, how many miles? He knows he's got a missile on him basically from launch. He only defends at 6 miles at 10,000 feet. This is a bad position to be in. And that's a late defense, basically netting him to death. I think he knew that because as we can see, I mean, here there's not really much point of spamming missiles like this too close together. So I think he knew that, tried to get some missile off. Better to shoot him off, I guess, if you're literally gonna die. So then that flank is then defeated, and this guy can come and recommit with the rest of his team, and then it basically turns into a 3v3 again. That's what happens here. Once again, really good coordination from OTP, just like in the first round, and in the second round, keep on one guy hot at a time. And I think Prez here, maybe lack of AWAC or something, but he clearly didn't think Rudy was going to recommit that quickly, and he did, and he suffers the ultimate fate from a low to high SD10 from 3.
We're not seeing anything on real telemetry because of the server ended, so oh well.
Oof.
Oh well.
But yeah, I think overall, just to add on to that, I think OTP did really good. They kept the same tactic, which sometimes can be a problem because the enemy team can counter it, if they thought about it. But their coordination was really good. They kept together really well and basically kept grinding Alamo to a hole, even with less missiles. As we saw, they weren't shooting missiles at the start, which is very good if you're a missile disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
You want to try and nullify that as much as you can. And then just a constant, I think overall, just OTP were a lot more composed than Alamo.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to at the very end. They were more aggressive. They were more composed. They had a game plan. They executed it, and they did it well. So what that resulted in is OTP coming out with the victory over Alamo Squadron, 2 rounds to 0, only suffering 1 loss, and that loss was to the undisputed champion of the world, the Ground. Nobody can take that title away. The Ground will always win. It never loses, ever. So the Ground always wins. Kuehl was reminded of that by flying into it to his death. White Widow says Ground OP. Yes, it is very OP. That was the only casualty for OTP. They couldn't overcome it. Kuehl maybe thought, hey, I'm going to show the Ground what's up. Ground, feel my wing. And he did it, and the Ground's like, hey, F you, and ripped it right off as an aircraft. So OTP comes out nonetheless, 2 rounds to 0, suffering 1 casualty, which means we're going on to the next round. Now, we're going to take a few minutes. We're going to be back at 30 past the hour. So in 15 minutes, we're going to be back. It is going to be SPQR against number 15 for the second match of the day. 15 minutes, go get something to drink, take a break, go to the bathroom, bio break, whatever you need to do. More SATAL action coming in 15 minutes. So see you guys back here in just a minute.
Fly as a team, which is the more important aspect here, especially in 6v6. But number 15 are experienced. I mean, they used to be called ITGC a few years ago. And we flew them against them quite a lot. So, I mean, they're experienced, they can keep composure. So it should be an interesting matchup, new team versus experienced team. I think we saw one of these matches the other day where it was like that. But we'll have to see how it goes today. Because sometimes the newcomers are more dangerous because you don't know how they're going to react.
What do you think SPQR needs to do to succeed in this round, given that they are the newcomers on the block?
You know what? if they can be, show that they can be a bit aggressive, even if they're not as confident, that can really uh, go in their favor, because you think a team that's inexperienced, it might be easier to push around. But if you can show that no, you're not going to be pushed around easily, especially if you're new, then that goes a long way, and not just for this match, but future matches.
So, given that number 15 on the opposite side of this is the veterans, they've been doing competitive flight for a long time. As you said previously, ITGC a couple years ago. What do they need to do? Now, they're kind of out of their element because they're typically, from what I remember, a flanker squadron.
Yeah, so that's gonna hurt a bit.
Yeah,
because I think they were looking to fly flankers this year, but I don't think they did in the end because of the changes.
Fly
so,
Guy, are FC3 aircraft allowed? They are, but they're
allowed.
outclassed by the full FI stuff. Now the Eagle isn't, but the J11, the J11 and the flanker most certainly are. So take that for what it is. But that's a big reason why we don't see a lot of FC3 aircraft. And we also don't see a lot of FC3 aircraft because not a lot of people in the competitive scene, at least, fly them anymore. Especially in day-to-day operations.
I do. I would say I'm one of the only few people that still flies the Eagle, the flanker, the Fulcrum.
Well,
especially.
you're a loser.
Well, yeah, maybe. But I do have a few notches under my belt.
Well, your team does.
Yeah. But we fly Eagles as well, remember? So I flew Eagle last year.
You did.
The year before.
We're
going to have Eagles this year. Spoilers, I guess.
The Gopnik Czar says, I've been flying the J11 as of late. I enjoy the J11. I'm just saying a lot of guys don't. I'm not saying people don't. I'm saying a lot of guys don't. There's definitely people that do. We've seen the F-15 already. I think we saw it on Monday. No, we didn't do it on Monday. I think we saw it on Tuesday during our 3-match onslaught. At least once. And who knows? We may see it during this match. I
mean, we even saw Mirage. I mean, yeah, Mirage is full fidelity, but it's the most underpowered in all of those because of the weapons. And we still saw Mirage.
We did, and now I get to restart DCS once again because I have to install this BS for these missions. Good times were had by all. Good times were had by all.
Mirage is just stupid.
I swear, guys, I will get better at this. This is a learning process for me. I didn't have to do this last year, so it's all just me getting used to how things are going to operate. So I do apologize about this. We'll cut this part out of the streams. Just sucks that we're having to go through all of this because what I'm trying to do now is there is a file that gets updated for mission scripting that scrubs things, and we have to turn that off for our mission scripts to work. So that's what I'm doing right now, and whenever you update, it gets rid of it or it overwrites that. So I forgot before I turned DCS on, like a noob, and I now have to go back and do it again. But practice makes perfect, so doing this all 3 or 4 times will get me back into it. Come on, DCS. Please start. M2K does not belong in SATAL unless someone got Razbam to release the 2005. Dude, Savior would disagree.
Yeah, he would. I mean, he doesn't. He
doesn't anymore.
We didn't have him fly the Mirage last year, but
think he'll fly it this year. Well, he's at pilot training now.
Nah. Yeah, I mean, there's not much point unless you can land. I guess Tempest. He is right. It's more of a meme aircraft now, because the new missiles. Before it had its uses.
It got a kill yesterday.
Yeah, it did, to be fair. In mountains, so it wasn't any BVI, it was basically a merge. But they did get a kill, so credibility there to the Mirage.
I look okay in black and white. I think it's the pink. It's showcasing my feminine side. That's really what you're being attracted to. I mean, I know I look very feminine, okay? I get it. I'm very feminine. But the pink really sends it over the top. It's Ravian. So just be careful. What's going on with my camera? It's OBS. So what ended up happening is I accidentally called Rob in Discord, And then when I turned it off, then it freaked the hell out on me here. So it is what it is. You guys get black and white and pink me. It's just what it is. It's what we're rolling with today. So
Yeah, it's all my fault.
Oh, it's always Rob's fault. When in doubt, blame Rob. All right, so I fixed this. I'm fast forwarding stuff. We should be ready to go here in just a moment. Given what you've seen out of number 15 in the past here, Rob, what do you expect from them today? From what I remember, they are very aggressive, if I remember correctly. And they do have some quality pilots. There's some guys that...
They like to trap you.
They do.
That's what I remember. They like to really trap you. They basically create this bait, and they come out of nowhere. That was in the flanker days, and that's the beauty of the flanker, of RST and stuff. So...
Do you think we're going to see a lot of that in today's matchup, even though I don't think they're flying the flanker? They haven't recently. So do you think we're going to see a very similar style of play from them today?
Possible. They have experience doing it, so maybe if they utilize, let's say, Tomcats and some 16s or 15s. I see 15s is a better choice now. So is this a patch where the 16 radar's nerfed?
It's current.
Current. Alright, so the 16 radar's nerfed.
God, I hope.
An Eagle will be better if they can fly the Eagle.
Yeah, this is current. So I do see the aircraft in here right now. It's going to be the current patch. So you said Eagle? What about the Eagle?
Well, that would be a much better choice than the 16 nowadays. Yeah, you lose the day link.
I still like the 16, but
8 AMRAAMs. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Instead of 6.
Yeah, but I still like
better
the 16.
radar.
I still like it.
No data link, no HMD.
Stop dogging on my Viper.
I like the Viper as well. All right, leave me alone. But I'm just saying, I think as a competitor, if you look at purely what might be better in the long run, the Eagle, if you can, you know, build your own SA or have a good team coordination.
Fair.
It's harder to do, I think, because especially nowadays, a lot of people kind of, even if they don't want to, you know, stay that, I think they would miss the aspect and probably would hinder them because they're not as used to flying without AWACS or peer-to-peer.
Sure.
So flying something like the Eagle without stuff like that, it's probably going to be worse than them flying a 16 in their potential.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's see. Now, this could screw up, too. This could get mad screwed up. So let's see who's flying what. Here we go. Yep. It's having a happy dance. Let me try and fix this. So what I think is ending up happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm replacing graphics without loading them, right? And it doesn't like it. Why, I don't know. But see, I just went in and told it which one I'm gonna...
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it works now. I don't know what its deal is. It doesn't like something. OBS just being OBS, and...
It's my fault, don't worry, it's my fault.
Dude, it's always
because I'm on today. If I come on, everything's gonna go wrong.
It's always your fault. All right. So I think... Let me just finalize this stuff. I think we're good now. All right. So SPQR. Dude, they've got an F-15. We were sitting here saying, I don't know if we're going to see an F-15. Assassin rocking the F-15. The Moose Marauder in the F-16. Praetorian in the JF-17. The Gopnik Tsar F-18. Alpha Gator and DS Player in F-14. So quite the mix. 5 different airframes, Rob, in today's matchup.
Yeah.
And then going over to take a look at what number 15 is rocking. Skinner and Cougar, as well as Neoshot and Raven, all F-16s. Viper in an F-14 and Vertical Charlie in an F-18. And I just noticed Alpha Whiskey put up a graphic. They can carry 40 missiles and 17 bags between all of their aircraft.
Oh,
and
nice.
SPQR can carry 44 and 15. So fuel advantage... probably going to be number 15, given if they take all of their bags. But missile advantage, given the total missile counts that can be carried, if they utilize all of the slots and all of the pylons, is going to be SPQR.
But I think fuel, I mean, this is like the GS Right, we got Tbilisi here, and then we got Kutaisi. So even if you're hyper aggressive, you're not going to have a problem landing at the enemy base. I don't think fuel is going to be effective, but those 4 missiles can be.
So this is Kutaisi against Tbilisi. This is Growling Sidewinder mission location, and camera 2 should be loading here in just a minute. There it goes. Growling Sidewinder mission location. So you guys should be very familiar with the terrain in this matchup that these guys are going to be flying over. But what do these guys have on their jets? So looking at the Gopnik Tsar here in the F-18 for SPQR, he's only carrying 6 AMRAAMs. 3 bags, 6 AMRAAMs.
More passive, I would assume. I mean, on GS, I mean, you make it to the enemy base easy and still fight and make it back home with 1 center line.
Yeah.
So I normally do that actually. I take 6 AMRAAMs and 2 AIM-9s with a center line on GS if I fly the Hornet. Which I don't fly the Hornet too much.
But would you take 10 in this?
Oh, in this, yeah. In a comp game, yeah. Missiles matter. You can dub the racks. Yeah, you have the pylons which are empty after that, but the racks are more the drag issue. So
Flipping
definitely.
over to take a look at number 15, Vertical Charlie. I don't think any of these guys have rearmed yet. Doing so to make sure that they get... No, the F-14 from Viper has rearmed. But Vertical Charlie is not, so I'm interested to see what he will be utilizing on his F-18. Where's the rest of the number 15 squadron? Oh, they're on the other runway. So the F-18s are going to be the factor here. Again, SPQR has 1 F-18. SPQR has 5 different aircraft. F-14s, 18s, JF-17, 16, and an F-15.
Should have thrown a flanker in there to finish off and have 6 different
just
aircraft.
do the Sex Vecta. And then you've got 4 14s, an 18, and a 14. So, or 4 16s, an 18, and a 14. So SPQR, I think, is going to have the SA advantage? No. Number 15 is going to have the SA advantage because they've got 5 contributors to the link. And SPQR, I think, only has 3.
AWACS? Yeah, we've got AWACS as well.
I think they
so
only
Tomcat's
have 3.
not blind.
1. SPQR only has 2. F-16 and 18.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The Tomcats can be together, but they have AWACS, so they'll just use the AWACS.
Right. That's... Oh. SA advantage heavily in favor of number 15. How big of a factor do you think that is, Rob?
If you have no AWACS big, with AWACS, it's not too bad.
Gopnik Tsar, where are you going? That radar was getting a little close. He got off the ground with that one. That was a little butt pucker moment.
Yeah, that's kind of... It's a bit worried there for a second. So what are the rules if you crash on takeoff? I don't think I ever saw that.
You can respawn. There's a bubble around home net, and you're able to respawn if you do disconnect or crash inside that bubble. You are allowed to come back in. Now Gopnik Tsar, he's just... I don't know what he's doing. He needs to put his gear up now. He's having a rough time. Eating some crunchy food, so give me a second. But Rob, what do you... Many F-14s coming from number 15, or excuse me, F-16s. You think...
Aggression.
They have to have aggression, right?
Yeah, you might as well utilize the 16 like that, especially now. If you're not going to get aggressive in the short ranges, what's the point of flying a 16
Now, we talked
nowadays,
about
really?
this beginning of this match. This does have the F-16 nerf. F-16 nerf encompasses radar detection range decrease. I think it lost some of its power.
Power in what sense?
It doesn't feel as fast.
Engine? Oh, they're just the drag.
Okay. They adjusted the drag. I don't think G limits or anything like that came into play.
No, they were meant to come out this month, but we'll see.
We'll see. We shall see. But Gopnik Tsar, look at this. He's still got his gear up.
What's going on?
I guess he panicked on the off-roading journey he did through the safari of the center of the airfield where he took off from Kutaisi. SPQR is out of Kutaisi. Number 15 is out of Tbilisi. But what is going on with Gop? He's got to realize that he's not going any faster. He's 280 knots at 20,000 feet. Maybe it's
if I'm not mistaken,
Chad
if you have your landing gear down, you can't use your missiles anymore.
No,
and,
I don't think so.
Like FC3, I think FC3 you can.
Yeah.
Other aircraft have safeties you can turn off, but I think in the 18, he's screwed now. I think he's just a flying decoy.
Unless he puts his gear up.
Maybe it's jammed, that's the problem. I think it's jammed. Can he tell? He's in chat, right?
I don't think
is your gear... Is it jammed?
I don't think your gear can get jammed unless you take significant damage in DCS.
No, you can do that with some aircraft. I've jammed the gear in the MiG-21 and...
Yeah, but I don't think it's modeled in the 18 or the 16 or any of the EV modules. I know it is in the MiG-21. Is it in the Mirage? I don't think so.
I don't recall them having issues in the Mirage.
So Gopnik Czar says, I can use 9s, but I can't use the 18s with the gear down. Well,
he can't use the AMRAAMs. But
no AMRAAMs. Yeah. Can you jettison the tanks? That would be my next question. Can you jettison the tanks with them down? He says yes. Well, do you just keep them down the whole time? Were they not able to come up? Was that the problem?
What a weird bug.
So bizarre. Tomcat just shakes. The Tomcat shakes like hell no matter what. It's having a seizure no matter what you do in the F-14. Gopnik says, I had a moment and forgot them. Okay, well, we will document and keep track of this journey of the Gopnik Czar. Get gear down. I mean, he is a Czar, so maybe he's used to having somebody else put the gear up for him. So maybe he just is used to somebody else reaching in and be like, hey, put the gear up. And somebody else does it for him, but he had to do it on his own this time, so therefore forgot. Maybe that's what happened. But his gear... Oh, there they go! There they go! Everybody, round of applause, even though you won't be able to hear each other clap. Round of applause for the Gopnik Czar putting the gear up. Well done, brother. Well done, man.
Too bad he can't shoot his AMRAAMs, though. As he said. It was a spoiler there, but... I wonder if he found that the hard way as well.
Maybe, but, man... He probably pushed the weapon release buttons like, what the hell's going on? Why can't I shoot? Why can't I shoot? I can just imagine him yelling over comms, what is wrong? But he's, oh, I forgot to put my gear up. That's one of those times. One of those times where you blame the sim for screwing up and it's a bug, and then you realize later that you're a moron, and you have that quiet moment where you realize just how stupid you were.
I have to say, I'm gonna sell, I think, myself out here. I forgot the master arm at some point during when I was trying to fire a missile in SATAL, and I think I remember one time Xavier forgot to turn on his IFF. So all we got was confusing data from him.
I actually did it yesterday, where I forgot to turn on my master arm switch, and I was coming in against somebody from Cobra Squadron, and I pushed the button multiple times, and nothing came off. And then I waited too long trying to push the damn button. I'm like, why doesn't this work? And then I look down and my master arm switch is off. Blaming ED for their sim, and it's my own dumb fault.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Like, why does this plane not work? Oh, we have a 54 in here.
We do have an AIM 54 Mach 2 coming in onto vertical Charlie. I don't think this thing's tracking anymore. So here's that AIM 54. It was on vertical Charlie, and it is dead. It's down to 1,000 knots. So even if it was tracking, it is so far out of energy, it is not going to matter. So, changing the music up here a little bit. We've got an SD-10. That is not the music I wanted. This is the music I wanted. SD-10 out from Praetorian up to the north. It's going to be on Neo shot. Here's that SD-10 coming down through 40,000 feet onto Neo shot, who I don't think knows that this missile is coming. It is coming. It is coming. It is coming. And Neoshot is not doing anything yet. Well, he's doing something now. Purely reactionary. Missile still at 1,000 knots. Closing. Closing. It wants to give him a hug. The big hug of death. Here it comes, brother. And Neoshot gets deleted from the sim. First casualty. SPQR Praetorian taking down Neoshot the Neopet.
Quite surprising to me, I'm not gonna lie, that kill there. Not sure what his defense... He kind of recommitted into the missile there.
Well, it was just a reactionary thing, in my honest opinion. He waited until he got the RWR warning, then reacted. So he was so far behind his jet that the missile was like, I got you, bro, and took him down. This is what the overall view looks like so far. 6 pilots remaining still for SPQR. 5 now for number 15. And if I thought this was going to go a different way, I thought the veterans for number 15 would be leading the way. But they are not. So, SPQR gets the first kill. Praetorian able to take down Neoshot. And these guys are in very similar formations here. Lined up north to south on the west, north to south on the east. Pressing against one another. Is number 15 going to be able to come back in this scenario and equalize us at 5 pilots apiece? AIM 54 now out from Alpha Gator. We're going to ride along with that one because I love riding along with the telephone poles. It's like you're a man on the back of a missile, and that was not the man on the back of a missile. There it is. There's that AIM 54 as she plows through the air towards possible impending doom for somebody. Who's she on?
No one.
Who is she on? No one. Right now. Mach 4. Not tracking anyone, going to split through between Skinner and Cougar. But what I do like to see, Rob, is that Alpha Gator, instead of launching and turning around, decided, hey, I'm going to stay hot, and finds himself in a great launching position against possibly the same contact, but this is an even better shot against Skinner, who needs to defend. He needs to defend here very quickly. Where is that missile? Where's Skinner? Here it is. Here it is. And here comes Skinner, and Skinner gets hammered by the telephone pole. I love that shot from Alpha Gator, recognizing that, hey, I'm not getting pressed. I can try and make something else happen. But now we've got AIM 54s up here to the north, and we're going to pause this because I don't want to miss any of the action up here to the north on this camera. We've got Raven with multiple AIM 54s. Did he line of sight them? So here is Raven with a couple AIM 54s. One just flew over his head. Here comes the second one. So he's able to line of sight or notch both of those AIM 54 Phoenix. And actually, one of those was on Vertical Charlie. But Vertical Charlie's able to get away from it. So he does okay. And this camera is still paused because it's, you know, awesome.
My fault.
Obviously.
It was my Oh.
There we go.
SD10 went for an AIM 54 there.
It did. The SD10s have a propensity for doing that. Now we've got a 120 out from Assassin onto Vertical Charlie. Vertical Charlie needs to defend. Is he going to be able to line aside it? Where's that 120? Coming down high to low from on high. And Vertical Charlie able to notch that really, really well. But now he's head on, I think. Head on with the Gopnik Tsar. And I don't think they see each other. I don't think they see each other at all.
But he can't shoot AMRAAMs anyway.
And Assassin launching onto Cougar. Here is a Cougar with an AMRAAM coming on him from Assassin. Closing, and Cougar gets taken down. Going back over to look at Vertical Charlie. And I'm going to pause this to make sure I don't miss anything because we've got multiple things going on. We've got Raven up here to the north. Launched on the Gopnik Tsar, I think. No. What is going on here? Sorry, guys. I'm just thinking out loud to myself. God, and this camera didn't pause? Come on. Come on, man. What are you doing? Oh, it's behind anyway. Let's fix this. Just fixing a camera, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. That's fixed.
Do you want to have a look at Viper here?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a look at where Viper is. Oh, there's Viper. So he's right here in the middle with Gopnik Tsar and Viper. And oh my gosh, he's got
Yep.
He's got a hood ornament, but this ain't no normal hood ornament. This is a hood ornament that wants to dominate your aircraft. It's a Mark 47 C variant coming in for his behind, and he can smell it. He can smell the exhaust fumes coming from Viper's aircraft. Here we go. And Viper gets taken down. He is gone. Long for this world. Removed from combat. And then we've got... who else do we have? Raven on the backside here of the Gopnik Tsar. There goes the missile. Is it going to make it over? It does! And the Gopnik Tsar, Raven on the board. And we missed DS player taking down Vertical Charlie. But Vertical Charlie got taken down. Raven able to take down the Gopnik Tsar in that situation. So Raven trying to make something out of this really crappy situation here. Raven's the only one left. 5 pilots having gone down for number 15. Raven finds himself all alone right now. He's got 5 missiles on his jet. DS player is somewhere over to his front. There's DS player, 8 miles to his lead. Missile off from Raven. That's headed out towards Alpha Gator. DS player still in the vicinity. Going to split screen here so we can watch both these guys. And Raven actually finds himself on the backside of DS player. Here comes the 120. DS player is going to go down. There it is. The hit. DS player now in an uncontrolled spin. Raven with 2 unanswered kills here late in this matchup. But he's got multiple 120s coming from Alpha Gator and the Moose Marauder. He's trying to get into a notch. He notches one of them. Alpha Gator now behind him. He's in the merge. Alpha Gator in an F-14. I don't think he sees him. Raven has 3 120s remaining, but he's going to tail in on Alpha Gator, and he's going to be sandwiched with the Moose Marauder being behind him. So split screen now so you guys can see that. And I'm going to try and put the third camera on here of Alpha Gator. There we go. So we'll go to the tri-view, the trifecta, so we can see from everybody's point of view onto the enemy contact. Raven now has the Moose Marauder and Alpha Gator both behind him, but Alpha Gator seems to be the only one that sees him. Alpha Gator in the bottom left corner. Alpha Gator is in an F-14, so there's an AIM-9. Deemed that the AIM-54 wasn't appropriate. Launches another AIM-9 out onto Raven. Raven needs to flare, not chaff, but he's got a Mark 47 coming for him. Is it going to make it over the hill? Doesn't matter, because the AIM-9 takes him down. SPQR, their first showcase in 6v6 Diamond League, and really SATAL in general, they come out with the round win as long as they're able to make it back to base over number 15. Holy crap. 8 kills in that one. 2 guys for SPQR go down, all 6 for number 15. Raven, Rob, did a pretty good job late in that round trying to make something happen, but it was too little too late.
Oh yeah, his team fell apart by that point.
Online debriefing's up, by the way, brother. So we're going to go back to the online debriefing done by Rob, Darkside Rob, and see what the tactics were utilized. But there was a lot of stuff that happened there. We missed Vertical Charlie going down to DS player in that one because things happened. We had 4 kills in the span of 15 seconds in that one. So Rob's going to jump into TAC view. We're going to flip over to it and see what is going on here. Turn the volumes down.
All right. Change this, go here. And also we have to wait for the unspazzing of TAC view.
Yep, as he backs up.
So tell me when that's fine.
Looks fine.
It's fun? Oh, actually it didn't spaz out for long this time. Interesting.
Must like the 6v6 more than the 4v4. But take us through it.
So we can see here there's basically a wall from number 15 here. And then we have kind of what would the SPQR doing here? To have a look.
I'd call it a wall. It ends up in a wall.
Yeah, I would say a less organized wall, but that didn't matter. They got the round in the end. So what happens here? We've got some. What's the range on this 54? I think it didn't track, if I remember correctly, or it too far out. Like a 60 knot to come out, aim 54 here from here, so they're going from some early aggression to try and get the number 15 guys to go low and slow, which I think worked out very end in the world. Because if you remember, we saw pretty much all the number 15 guys be a lower altitude quite early on. I mean, yeah, you see this after the first initial 54. Good tactic there from SPQR. We can see here, number 15 are not having any of it, and everyone practically drops altitude to make sure that there's no other aim 54s coming from them there. So they're in a disadvantage now from their positioning, just due to the fact of the lower speed and lower altitude.
That aim 54 did track, it just got notched or line of sighted. It was on vertical Charlie, it seems like, and then it lost track.
Yeah.
He notched
So I
it.
think they most likely saw the trail when they got into rendering distance, and then they went defensive as we saw. And then basically vertical Charlie just notched the Tomcat radar by that point, and then trashed the missile. Then we can see SPQR just continuing in, keeping altitude. One thing to note, F-15 they've chosen to go for the high and fast F-15, which worked out well. No one's really engaging these because he's quite safe here, so this is a very good tactic from SPQR to get the number 15 guys low, because they can have basically the F-15 linger out relatively safe, getting speed, getting ready to pounce on the number 15 guys here. As we saw an early SD-10 kill, this was the opening kill here from number 15 guy defending too late. What do we see next? Number 15 is trying to keep together here. You know, we see Raven's kind of on his own now. Viper and Charlie are most likely work together, and Skinner and Cougar together. So their tactic is to work in pairs. Whereas SPQR here keeping together the front two guys and creating a grinder. So they ended up going for kind of like a wall with a grinder that's turning out into a wall. Except from the lone F-16 here on the flank. We fast forward a bit more. We see this number 15 guys are just notching and they're staying very defensive, whereas SPQR are very aggressive, and I think this is the downfall of number 15, just not having any aggression at all. They're allowing SPQR to get too close. SPQR has seen that and are capitalizing on that heavily. You see supersonic Tomcats here, Mach 1.3 Tomcat, low altitude, but the speed's going to help a lot for those aim 54s. We've got the Assassin here, who's now Mach 1.6. I think he gets to Mach 1.8 at some point, if I remember correctly. And the center, we got the Tomcat and 18 supporting each other to push in. With Praetorian on the side there to push in on the 3 center guys from number 15. And it keeps being more of the same. The number 15 guys just keep defending backwards, and they just keep getting pushed and pushed. SPQR not letting it go for 1 second.
I like the constant launches coming from SPQR to keep them on the defensive.
Yeah, they keep in constant pressure. Constant pressure from SPQR. At the moment someone's hot, pull a missile on him if you see him. That way, number 15 is going to get constantly pushed back. Assassin doing a really good job changing flank to take out this guy. So with Cougar coming by.
Continues to just be stupid by not bringing in the correct cameras, by, you know, doing all kinds of stupid crap that's not supposed to happen. It's forgotten. There's Rob. It's like, come on, man. What is going on? I don't know.
It's my fault.
Yeah,
my fault.
When in doubt, blame Rob. It's just stupid.
Yep.
So dumb. So, number 15 getting dominated. The veterans getting shown the door there. Rob, what happened?
Surprised me as well, to be honest.
It was the defensive nature seemingly from number 15 that seemed to do that. I'm not used to that flying style coming from number 15. That was really weird. They're usually so aggressive. The idea of them coming out and being so passive and defensive was very strange to me. Very, very strange. So are they going to make changes here in round 2, more or less, to try and come out with something in this matchup against the newcomers of SPQR?
I think, like I said, I guess I predicted it. If SPQR can show that aggression, I think maybe number 15 were thinking SPQR, you know, newcomers to the league, newcomers to SATAL in general, when didn't think they could probably pull something off like that and keep together and work together as a team without experience. But I think that round just shown that they can, Just because
Right.
you're new doesn't mean you're not good, you know.
Mhm.
So I think that point may have caught number 15 off guard, and they paid the ultimate price for it.
Right. They definitely did seem to pay the price for that one, and we are moving on to round 2, or in this case, round 3, given that round 2 didn't really work in the overall scheme of things, so we skipped it. It had a server bug that bugged out and killed the round mid-flight, so things had actually started, people were dying, and the server decided, hey, we're not going to continue, we're just going to stop right here. And that's what ended up happening, so they moved on to the next round, decided to refly round 2, and that's what we're seeing right here. We're seeing the refly. We're just not even going to bother with that bugged round. We're just going to move straight into the refly. So what do you think number 15 needs to do, Rob? Is their only answer be aggressive?
I mean, yeah, we just saw him get constantly pummeled by missiles. We didn't see him react much. I mean, how many times were they actually hot and just, able to get missiles off? I think they didn't. How many missiles did they fire in that round? So not many. They really didn't react. It's kind of like they let SPQR kind of walk over him. That's what I felt like it would happen in that round. So yeah, they need to be actually, reacting to the constant push from SPQR. Put some missiles on them so they can't just come over and just lob AMRAAMs at you within the nets. And hopefully this time we can see Gopnik actually be able to utilize his AMRAAMs.
Well, the question I have is, did Gopnik remember to put his gear up? And he's on stream right now, so yeah, he did. He did.
Nice.
He didn't. He wasn't a complete failure this time.
He got a kill that round though. Remember, he got an aim 9 kill. He didn't need the AMRAAMs in the end. He did die shortly after because he got ambushed. But he could have got even another kill from that.
So
I wonder if he was able to use guns or not, because then he could just gun someone down as well.
Gopnik says in chat, Assassin exploded in round 1 in TAC view, but he actually landed in the sim. So that was just TAC view being TAC view, I guess. Interesting. Interesting. Wonder why.
Wait, what?
So
Oh,
Gopniksar in chat said that
yeah,
Assassin landed, but in TAC view it showed him dying. Which is strange.
So he didn't blow up from the bubble.
No.
Right.
No, he did not. 6v6 action for Diamond League, if anybody's just joining us. Difference in all of the leagues is really just skill level. The Diamond League is guys that have done this for a long time, with the exception of SPQR, because I thought, hey, they're pretty good. Let's see how they do. And I threw them into Diamond League, so we're going to see how they do in this 6v6. This is their first year. Most of the other teams are veterans to the competitive stage in Diamond League, so be aware of that. And that goes for 6v6 and 4v4. Gold League is kind of the semi-pro version of the pro scene, and then Silver League is kind of, we're just getting into the competitive scene. I didn't want to put them against the guys that have done this for a long time, so that's how everything works. There should be a coal league, so I have somewhere to compete. like a brown dirt league or something like that. I don't know. You're too hard. You guys are too hard on yourselves. You guys people gotta recognize you gotta start somewhere. Regardless, win or lose, you will be surprised at how fast you can progress.
Yeah.
Experience and talent-wise when flying against some of the best virtual pilots in the world.
And SATAL's majority of it is about teamwork.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be good, but if your team gets whacked, I mean, then you're maybe left over in a 1v6. You're not going to be first.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we saw Raven in that last situation 1v5, and he got schmammered. So it really doesn't matter. If the skill, if you're against a bunch of guys, stops mattering. You can only defend so many threats at the same time until an unseen one, or one that you even see but can't defend against, comes up and bites you.
Exactly.
So these guys are getting closer. Skinner and Cougar are the closest with the Gopniksar and the Moose Marauder up here north. The two ships are coming together. And even right off the bat, Rob, we see the defensive posturing from number 15. If you look
Scared of the Phoenix.
If you look at the difference in attitude between Skinner and Cougar and SAR and Marauder, it is apparent either the difference in tactic that is being taken or the fear of the incoming missile. The unseen threat. That is an AIM-7. Why is that an AIM-7? Why does
did he
have
take
AIM-7s
and not AMRAAMs? Damn, and Gate is actually defending that one. I'm kind of surprised.
Well, he
obvious.
probably thinks it's a Phoenix getting the initial burn stage, and then once it comes out of
From an 18 though? I mean, it's an 18, not a Tomcat.
Yeah, that is kind of strange. He's got another
I think
AIM-7.
he realized.
He's got another one. He had two.
I am confused.
But meanwhile, we've got multiple AIM-54s coming off of Viper's aircraft. Mark 60s. Oh, don't want the cameras. Sorry, guys. Mark 60s headed up towards the Gopnik-Tsar and Moose Marauder. Can't tell if they're on both or just one.
What if in the tracking?
The north one definitely isn't. Is the bottom one?
Nope. It's going pitbull now. Is it going to track? Nope.
Nope, they are not. So those are not tracking. Those are a waste of space. He was just utilizing those to get the weight off of his jet. So maybe he was just trying to be lighter. I see AWACS on the screen. Are you allowed to shoot down the AWACS? If you can. I don't remember if we said it is immortal or not.
Nope. It's immortal.
It is immortal. Well, there you go. You can.
So you can shoot missiles at it, but it's not going to do
anything. It's not going to do anything. 120 coming in onto Cougar. Here is Cougar defending low. Line of sight's that 120. The 120's flying right there over his right wingtip. He's going to make that one. He's got a AIM-54 now. Not sure if that is on Cougar or on Viper. You can see that on the TAC view in the upper left corner. Nobody has fallen yet. Number 15 still being a little bit more defensive. They have no one hot with the exception of Cougar and Viper up to the north. Look at all the hot contacts for SPQR. Everyone from SPQR is like, I want some of this. And we've got another AIM-54 coming for Vertical Charlie. Here is Vertical Charlie. AIM-54 just heard the sonic boom, flew right over the top of his head and detonated into the countryside. Vertical Charlie's doing a really good job of defending the incoming missiles, but now he's got another AIM-54 coming from his front 4 miles away. Notches that, goes in line of sights it, almost went into the trees, pulled up abruptly there to make sure he didn't contact the ground, so he's okay there. But Vertical Charlie doing really well defensively, defending all of the incoming threats. So DS player in a 1v3 down south, and then we've got a 4v3 up here to the north. 120 out from Cougar as he defends. DS player turns around, runs away. Assassin now trying to come down here and help DS players. Praetorian is way outside of this engagement, but this could be turning into a Dragon Bag situation as Praetorian is coming in front of DS player. And what is his altitude? 31,000 feet. There is a possibility, ladies and gentlemen, that they do not see Praetorian. Though it is slim, they may not see him, or Raven is so tunnel vision on a DS player that he's waiting too long. And DS player is now trying to get away. He waited to launch 120s. DS player's now coming, or Raven's now coming in, trying to make something happen against Raven. Raven now has the SD-10 missile warnings coming in from his right side. One is 3.7 miles away. Is that going to track? 2.5 miles away. Closing. Missile still rapid on its ingress. 1 mile away. Raven really needs to knock this. I don't know that he's going to, is he? It picks up last moment and pounds Raven. Raven goes down. Great shot from Praetorian. Let's pause and make sure we don't miss anything. That was a great Dragon Bag situation there, Rob. That SPQR set up. Praetorian didn't bother to try and recommit. Assassin had him sandwiched from the north. So Raven was just kind of screwed, right? He couldn't turn full cold because Assassin was right there. He had to try and defend the missile by notching it, but could only notch it in a way that he wasn't flying into Assassin. I don't know if Assassin saw him or not, but it ended up with DS player taking down Raven with an SD-10. So great shot by DS player with that SD10.
Praetorian.
Or Praetorian,
DS
excuse me. Praetorian with the SD10. DS player is an F14, so he's not going to do much of anything. So let's carry on here.
Yeah, that was definitely a good dragon bag.
Vertical Charlie now coming in on the southern engagement. Here's Vertical Charlie as he tries to make something happen. It's a 1v3 down here in the south, but he may have an isolated DS player. How is this going to shake out? Vertical Charlie's hot. Vertical Charlie's got 6 aim 120s left. Let's loose a 120. DS player's getting the missile warning, but he's getting it late, and that missile was launched from inside 6 miles, and DS player, I think, is dead. There it is, connects. He loses a right wing, you need both, and flies into the ground. Great shot by Vertical Charlie, getting them on the board. Now, going up to the north. Skinner now, trying to make something happen. Skinner, dodging an AIM 54. Launches a 120. No, he doesn't. AIM 54 is actually on Cougar. So Cougar defending. Here's Cougar defending. Gunny with multiple 120s down to the south. AIM, there's so much stuff going on. AIM 54, Mark 60 now out. I'm going to put try on so we can try and keep track of everything that's going on. And we've got Skinner recommitting in on the Gopnik Tsar. So here is that engagement, trying to keep as much of this on screen as possible. Gopnik Tsar in the bottom left corner coming in on Skinner. 120 off from Skinner. That was really off board. And Gopnik Tsar gets smashed by that 120 high off aspect from Skinner. Great shot. I got to give him massive credit
really
for
good,
that
really
one.
Good
that
job
was
for Skinner
great. Great shot by Skinner. And number 15 is now in the lead. They've got 2 kills to SPQR's 1, and things are rapidly deteriorating for SPQR in this situation. AIM 9 now out from Alpha Gator. Go to Alpha Gator here. Alpha Gator sees the F-14 of Viper off his nose. So giving you guys that view. And we're going to give Viper the other view. So here's that split screen. Flares out from Viper. Here we go. These locked up? Yeah, they are. So flares out from Viper. AIM 9 was sent out from Alpha Gator. But that's going to be way too... Oh, my gosh! And an AIM 54 I just saw hit on TAC view. Hit the Moose Marauder. And that was actually launched a while ago. You guys can see it right here from Viper. And just took a while to get to Moose Marauder. So Viper able to take him down while defending against Alpha Gator. And that right there is just a showcase of how slow the AIM 54 takes to how long it takes to accelerate. But Viper now running away from the Moose Marauder. And I don't know if you see it, but I see it. Assassin, Rob, Mach 1.9. 1.9 at 30,000 feet. Coming in on Viper. He's like the mongoose hunting the snake. Here he is, coming in onto Viper. Here we go. Is he going to be able to make something happen? Viper is very hard. Cougar, Viper is very low. Cougar launches on Alpha Gator. That I think hit Alpha Gator, but it doesn't do anything. I'm going to go to Alpha Gator and make sure we don't miss anything. Alpha Gator, we're going to go to try so we don't miss anything just in case. So we've got Assassin in the upper left, Viper on the right, and Alpha Gator in the bottom left, making sure we don't miss anything here. Second 120 out onto Viper. Oh, and Viper gets hammered by the fast-flying Assassin, and we've actually got another one coming in onto Skinner. Is this going to be a twofer? Coming in onto Skinner. Here's Skinner's point of view, and this 120's over Mach 3, rapidly closing. Here it comes. Is he get away from it? It's coming. It's coming. He notches it at the last moment. And Skinner gets away from it. Assassin takes Viper to school. And down to the south, we've actually got a merge. No, we don't. Praetorian trying to run away. Praetorian is in the bubble. So Praetorian has run out of room to run down here to the south from Vertical Charlie. In the north, we have Skinner and Cougar against Alpha Gator and Assassin. But we need to pay attention to Praetorian and Vertical Charlie as he runs away from that. And then we've got Skinner here against Alpha Gator. Merged. So Skinner merged with Alpha Gator. Can we see where Cougar is? Because Cougar's in this fight. Cougar actually launches on Assassin. Did I miss something? What did I miss there? Oh, Vertical Charlie. So Vertical Charlie just took down. Who did he take down? Praetorian down to the south. Vertical Charlie able to take him down, I think. Or did the bubble get him? The bubble got Praetorian down there to the south. So this is what we're talking about right here. Praetorian dies to the bubble. Vertical Charlie able to run him out of bounds. And now we've got up here to the north Skinner and Cougar trying to duke it out against Alpha Gator and Assassin. So Skinner and Cougar, Cougar finds himself actually in the better position on Alpha Gator. So let's continue with this one. Here we go. Cougar 3.5 miles behind Alpha Gator. Alpha Gator in front. No, Alpha Gator's actually made it behind, so he's going to drag Alpha Gator right into Cougar. 120 needs to come off here soon. You better launch. There it is. 120 onto Alpha Gator. Alpha Gator stands no chance. There it is. Cougar able to take down Alpha Gator off of Skinner 6. Great shot there.
Assassin's coming in there.
Yep, trying to get this all linked up. There we go. And Assassin launches a 120 onto Skinner, and Skinner doesn't stand a chance. He's still hot against this incoming threat. Now he's trying to notch it, but I don't think he gets away from it. Thinks better of it, now turns into it. Don't turn into the missile! Turns into it, gets hammered, gets a 120 off. So what
is a Mad Dog, it's not tracking.
Is it not tracking?
Nope.
No, it's not tracking. So Assassin is the only one left. Launches a 120 out. That's going to be on Cougar. Cougar launches a 120. Here's that 120 from Cougar. Assassin's missile went to the ground. Assassin needs to notch. Missiles 1,200 knots. Still coming. Still coming. Assassin, you need to do something. He banks into it, and oh my gosh.
Oh,
so
wow.
Close. Missile got within feet of Assassin's aircraft. Assassin now having to defend another 120. Coming in from the right, 1.5 miles away. I don't think he's going to be as lucky this time as that missile comes in. Here it comes. And goodbye, Assassin. Cougar and Gunny are the only ones left. And then there were none. What a round.
Number 15 brought it back.
They did, and I think it was due to the aggression. I gotta say,
yeah.
I think it was due to them not flying and just being defensive. I really, really think that was the case there. I honestly think that was the reason for them able to come out on top. Online host is up.
So I think there's actually a bug here with the bubble from what I'm getting. My understanding here from Praetorian.
What's
I joined the real.
It may have already been fixed. I just don't know what it would have been right now.
Is where he's like going out towards the edge of the bubble. He disappears on taxi, like he dies, but he's actually still alive. So apparently we missed it. Yeah, I'm just fixing this up now.
So Vertical
Charlie
traded with Praetorian.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I don't know what the bug is there.
Very interesting. So let's take a look. Rab, take us through. You are now the instructor.
All right. Let's go back. Here's the end. All right, start. Tell me when it's. Is it all good?
Looks like it.
All right, let's go then. So, we did see the same approach from number 15. Same approach. They were preemptively defending the Phoenixes, so we will see them descend here and start basically going into notches, preemptive notches to trash the M54s. Same as the first round. This is an interesting one. Why did Vertical Charlie decide to take aim 7 instead of extra AMRAAMs?
I don't know.
I mean, it seems very weird to me. I mean, you might as well just take the extra AMRAAMs and shoot those off. That's 4 extra missiles per 1 aim 7. That's, yeah. Oh, apparently not on the stream. You're not looking at the, you think you need to fix the stream. They're not seeing this.
Oh, am I not?
Nope, not on the stream. They're just seeing the RTB.
It should be. Why is it not picking up TAC view? Is there multiple TAC view? There's multiple TAC view instances. Hold on. Try and join the online host again.
Yep, one sec.
There you go.
Is that fixed on the stream?
Yep.
Oh yeah, yep. Alright. Can I click that please? There we go. So what was I saying? Yeah, so quick loss of what's at the start. Same thing. They're going to notches early to trash the 54 shots, which actually SPQR assumed they were not gonna work this time because they're doing the same thing because they learned from the first round. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on here, what the choice of this decision was made, why it was made. Aim 7s, I mean, I think Alpha Gator realizes, wait a minute, there's an 18 spiking me, and getting a warning of that should be a Sparrow, and we see him basically not care anymore. I mean, I'm pretty sure Charlie also breaks the lock early. So we commits to shoot a missile. Same thing from SPQR. Worked well in the first round, so why not do it until something goes wrong? But yeah, this time number 15 just didn't keep that defensive posture all round. You can see SPQR trying to put some pressure here of AIM-54s on both sides, forcing number 15 to basically spread it out from each other into notches. Well, Assassin kind of comes in later on, as we saw. But they're doing more of the same thing, and then they start actually pushing. We see him actually turning around, engaging. Maybe some out of range missiles to put him defensive because they don't want a reoccurrence of round 1. So that's definitely an improvement. We can see number 15 being a lot more, shooting missiles off instead of just staying defensive and basically have SPQR run them over. See constant engagements, you know, instead of going cold, it's gonna hit pushes, and Cougar's gonna support him later on. Kind of same from the 14 from number 15 this time, actually taking some more shots. Right side as well, this is where a bigger fight breaks apart here. We've got Assassin who unfortunately didn't actually see these guys here. I mean, he doesn't have Daylink, so he doesn't know exactly where they are, so he was probably scanning just too far forward instead of here when he's on his approach. Because he definitely would have got him here on medium frequency, so that's unfortunate, because if you could have seen these guys would have probably been dead.
Well,
And the outcome of the round would have been drastic. Is he?
Yes. AMRAAM behind him.
I think that and the AIM-54 behind him later on. So he's constantly defensive. That probably does have a reason why he has. But he could have kind of just dove down, engaged these guys, and then broken off. So I think also he didn't see him. Then yeah, 15 actually being more aggressive, pushing. They're not falling back as they were. So they didn't go all the way back like last round. They're actually pushing SPQR here, keeping mutual support. Here we see Skinner and Cougar staying together. Viper kind of staying in the middle to break up the SPQR so they can't just break him in two. And then we did see Raven die, and then Vertical Charlie and Gunny keep it together and keep him aggression on all sides. So it's more of an equal fight this time around, as we saw. Both sides are trying to push each other, but no one's really letting go. The SPQR is starting to get pushed back a little bit here. So number 15 got the better aggression out of two, and we just see this constantly just better coordination from number 15 this time around, being aggressive and slowly taking out SPQR. And yeah, this is the thing we were talking about here earlier, where for some reason it disappears, but it ended up being a trade here, and what we saw at the end there with Assassin. So yeah, very good from number 15. They came back and decided to bring the aggression instead of just basically letting SPQR give it to them. So it's going to be very interesting to see how SPQR reacts in the next round.
Will they be able to come back against all odds of losing the second round? I always say second round victor has the advantage going into round 3. Does SPQR think the same thing, or are they totally down on their spirits, morale trashed, having lost to the veterans number 15? We're going to find out. I'm going to try and fix the skinned video. I don't know why that one didn't work, but we're going to try and fix that one round 3 or round 4, I guess, since we skipped round 2. And we're able to get around on the new guys after SPQR was able to get it in round 1. Let me turn off online debriefing. That's not what I wanted to do. And we'll turn back on real-time telemetry. There we go. So these guys are getting ready to take off again. Kataisi against Tbilisi. It's all tied up, 1 apiece. Number 15 taking on SPQR. Let's take a look at who is repping these guys. Let me make sure I've got my stuff. We should. And I think there was a side change even in the last round. So SPQR is Assassin, the Moose Marauder, Praetorian, the Gopnik Czar, Alpha Gator, and DS player. Meanwhile, number 15 is Skinner, Cougar, Viper, Vertical Charlie, Gunner, and Raven. Or Gunny and Raven. I think Gunny was the substitution, I think. But it's 4 F-16s, a 14, and an 18 against a smorgasbord of different aircraft for SPQR. Do you think Vertical Charlie in the Hornet not taking those 4 extra AMRAAMs had an impact on that last round?
It matters. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to take those Sparrows. If you're going to take those shots, you might as well use the AMRAAM. It's much more effective and, well, makes that guy actually be a lot more defensive, even if you're not looking to kill him. It's still bad. I'm still baffled by that choice.
It had to have been an accident. Had to have been.
I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt that was an accident.
You don't think so?
That was on purpose. That was on purpose. There's no way you select him and then you see in the hood 7M or 7H if you got the MH or whatever, you know? You know you're firing a Sparrow, especially when you see the trail go off your plane.
So what ended up happening there, Praetorian, was the script locked up because it got a null value when it tried to check something, and that's why everything stopped. It has since been fixed, but that's what ended up causing that problem. So these guys are taking off. Round 3, round 4. Rob, who do you think has the advantage in this one? Given how everything's gone, we saw number 15 correct out of the defensive posturing to be more aggressive against SPQR. What do you think? I heard you say it was close, but any more details
It's close. Like, it's a close matchup. As we saw in that second round when number 15 brought it back, it was still a close game. Only 2 of them survived out of 6. The 2v1 in the end, and
that is
honestly
true.
That shows that it is a close game. So maybe what could they do to improve it? Probably number 15 could probably increase the aggression a bit. SPQR, if they can get that Eagle, it had a really good opportunity to take 2 guys out. And
Yeah,
I think I'm not sure what went wrong there, but he could have definitely had an opportunity to spot those 2 guys and just basically blast them. Even if he was getting shot from the rear, he said, oh, I'm just going to dive, I'm going to get Mach 2+. These AMRAAMs are going to be absolutely just going to smash those guys from, and then they got engaged from 2 angles as well. And just that other AMRAAM coming from such an awkward angle and such a high speed, it's very hard to defend, especially if you get surprised like that. So maybe we'll see. Maybe that F-15 will do something like that this round. I mean, he's got opportunities in both rounds to do that.
He's using the F-15 right. I mean, he's really fast. He's high.
Yeah, you know what's surprising? There's AWACS. He's very visible, and number 15 aren't really reacting to him that well. He's flying over them.
Maybe they figure he's too fast to engage, and they don't want to waste a missile on him.
No, that's. I mean, you got to take him out the game. I mean, he was the last guy alive, right? If they would have took him out
when
earlier,
he got low. But what you got to remember is a lot of the time, number 15 is so low. If he's at 30 or 40,000 feet, their missile shooting from low to high now has to traverse 5 to 6 miles just to get to his altitude.
Yeah, but if you're an F-16, you can climb very quickly and get some of that energy state. We saw they were firing from the deck. The F-16s were still 0.9, and the AMRAAMs are getting close to them. If they climb and shoot like 1 or 2 seconds later, the F-15 is gonna be toast.
Yeah.
Also, another point being is I think another mistake I keep seeing, and then from some of the Tomcats, taking AIM-54Cs. We've seen them combine them, Cs and Mark 60s. There's no reason to.
Just take the Mark 60.
Not yet. Just take the Mark 60. I mean, they missed a kill because they Mark 60 ran out of number 15 missed a kill because the 54C ran out of energy before hitting the guy.
Yep.
Just
I
barely.
don't think the upgraded seeker head and the smokeless motor, the less smoked motor matters. The increased energy state of the Mark 60 is so much better.
The seeker is the same. The only difference is a 0.5 improvement, or 0.05 improvement in CCM. So the A has 0.3 CCM value, and the 54C has 0.25. They will be improving the seeker logic and all that stuff when it gets converted to new API. And like I said, the 54C is going to be able to launch on its go active on its own. So there's going to be an actual reason to take the C over the Mark 60 in the future, but currently there isn't any except from that smokeless motor, which honestly you can still spot it. It's useless compared to a Mark 60 if it's available.
Well, it's definitely available. I guess people just think that the less smoked motor is that much more beneficial than seeing the smoke plume that comes out of the back end of that Mark 60. The C should have the Mark 60 motor?
There were some, so they took, realistically there were 54As that got converted to Cs, or the Cs they were building, they put Mark 60 motors in them. Yeah, that is correct. I don't know how many of those were in service though, but I think by some point the Mark 47 motor, the mod 1, was the most numerous in service at some point.
So these guys are encroaching. I really like the opening formation coming from number 15 a lot more than what we see from SPQR. SPQR, they're, what it seems like at least now, they're in like these 3 2-ships. Right, so you've got the 2-ship of Praetorian Assassin, Alpha Gator, and DS Player, and then the Gopniksar and the Moose Marauder down here to the south. Then you have this wall coming for number 15. But number 15, in order to make this work, needs to be hugely aggressive. They have to recommit after every single time they have an opportunity to do so, because if you turn around and the guy chasing you stays hot, there's nobody behind you to help you. There is no depth to your formation. So to make this work, you have got to be aggressive. If you are passive, you're going to get taken apart. So that's what I want to see at number 15. I want to see them aggressive. If they're able to do that, given this formation, if they're able to do that and maintain this formation, I think it's their match to lose. If SPQR provides mutual support, they are in these 3 2-ships. If they can support their wingmen, they're going to be finding themselves in a lot of 2-on-1 situations where they're going to have the upper hand in the multi-ship because there's no depth to number 15's formation. But SPQR's got to recognize those situations and capitalize on them when they present themselves, in my mind at least. AIM 54 out from Viper. That's going to be on Praetorian. No, it's going to be on DS Player. And interesting, what we're seeing here, Rob, DS Player and Alpha Gator have split. So now instead of having 3 2-ships, we have 2 Stingers. Wonder what's going on there. Now, Alpha Gator and DS Player are in Tomcats, if I remember correctly. Praetorian is in a JF-17. Assassin's in a 16.
15.
15, excuse me. The Moose Marauder's in an 18, and the Gopniksar is in a 16. So interesting to see how this goes. Alpha Gator launching a Mark 60. I like that that's not a C variant. Alpha Gator is in the middle of everything, really. He's equidistant, maybe a little bit further away from the opponents than everyone else. Launches from 30,000 feet. I got to bad dog the F-14s. I don't think the F-14s are fast enough. I'd like to see them faster. Missiles up at 30,000 feet, already descending Mach 4 still on boost, coming down towards Skinner and Cougar down here. And then up to the north, we've got a closer engagement, Raven and Gunny. And Vertical Charlie. It's going to be a 3-on-3 up here to the north, and it looks like a 3-on-3 down here to the south from what I'm seeing so far. 120 out from Assassin on to Gunny. Assassin's at 30-some thousand feet, Mach 1.4. That missile's going to be on to Gunny. Is it tracking or is it on Vertical Charlie? Here's that missile that we see, and I think it's actually on Vertical Charlie, who's a bit further away. Yeah. SD-10 now out onto, I don't know who that's on. Can you tell who that's on? I can't yet. It's on Gunny.
Gunny.
So here's that SD-10 coming in for Gunny. Is it still tracking? Gunny's trying to notch it. Gunny's going to be over there somewhere. There's Gunny flaring and chaffing. He needs to recognize flares are going to do nothing against a radar-guided missile. And I think we actually just lost somebody, if I am paying attention enough. Come on, cameras. Why are you doing that? I think we just lost somebody down to the south. Get these cameras more organized. There we go. I think we just lost Vertical Charlie.
Oh, yeah, it looks like he's seafit. Oh, he went into the ground. Sorry.
So Vertical Charlie just made a turn?
Yeah, he killed himself.
Just
trying to defend
banked over and went straight into the ground. I guess that was a panic maneuver. Tried to correct, wasn't able to, and boom. Vertical Charlie goes down. That's not a great way to start if you're number 15.
No, it's not.
Undefeated ground wins every time, but to lose somebody to the ground, not even a missile, has got to be detrimental to your morale. I mean, to go down like that is not fun, and Vertical Charlie does indeed go down like that, but let's continue. So Raven now and Gunny recommitting after their third wingman of Vertical Charlie killed himself, riding along with Raven in this situation. 5 120s left, 2 tanks coming in against Assassin. Assassin's at 24,000 feet, Mach 1.4, 120 out from Assassin. Raven's got to recognize that Assassin's got a lot more juice on his jet than he does. He's pulling down. You're not high enough to make that maneuver, Raven. Don't do it. And he's dead.
Two of them to the ground.
One.
Wow.
Why?
Dude, that's...
Why? Aim 54 now out from DS player. That one's going to be on to Gunny. High to low shot, and there's actually a lead. Aim 54 coming in on to Gunny. Gunny 5 miles away, trying to defend against the lead Aim 54. 4 miles, much closer for the lead one. Does he notch? He notches the lead one. Does he notch the second one? I don't know that he knows it's here. It sees him, takes him down. Things continuing to devolve. For number 15, things going from bad to worse here. Now Skinner has a 120 coming in on him. And Skinner gets taken down. Oh,
Damn,
no.
It's really going downhill. Number 15,
oh,
yeah.
no. So Skinner got taken down, but he took down the Gothic Czar. So he was able to take down Czar with him. Let's look at the TAC view and see what happened there. So Skinner trades with Czar. They're just at about co-altitude. Czar's a little bit faster. You got to be faster in these engagements, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not, you're just going to die. And Czar tries to notch, doesn't do it perfectly, dies, and they both succumb to the incoming 120s, which means we are down to, are we missing somebody? 5v2. That's not good. That's not a great way to start if you're in this round for number 15. So we're going to put a camera on Viper, and we're going to put one on Cougar so we can keep track of what's going on for them. But not a great start for these guys. Here we go.
I like this statement from Jazz. The ground is a fire and forget weapon. It requires no guidance. That's so OP, you know.
Oh, man. Aim 54 is now coming for Cougar. We can see them out there. Looks like he's going to line of sight him. Recommits. I like the aggressiveness coming from Cougar. Viper, meanwhile, trying to make something happen against the Moose Marauder. Might as well bring up the Moose Marauder down here to the south. Here's all three of them. Moose Marauder is low. AIM 54 out from Viper on Alpha Gator. Alpha Gator launches an AIM 54. I think it's actually, we need to pay attention to that AIM 54. Here's the AIM 54 coming up. Is it going to track? No, that is not going to track. But the AIM 54 from Viper onto Alpha Gator might. Here's that missile. Is it tracking? It gets line of sighted. So that missile's not a factor. And the Moose Marauder is recommitting into Viper, it looks like. He's going to be in a pretty good position if he finds himself in the right place. Viper puts another AIM 54 out. We see that. Where'd it go? There it goes, off to the right. That one's going to be on Alpha Gator. So AIM 54 onto Alpha Gator. Here's that AIM 54, and it got line of sighted. So lots of line of sighting coming from all pilots involved in this last incursion. We've got a 120 coming in on a Viper from the right side. I don't see it. He's banking. It's actually on the other side. Where is it? It's going to hit him. There it is. Viper gets hammered by the 120 from the Moose Marauder, and then there was one. Cougar is the only one left. He's got 5 120s, so he can theoretically do it. Oh, and Viper's still up. His pilot may be dead, though. I think it's a zombie cat. I think his pilot's dead. Oh, maybe not. No, he's still flying. Interesting. Oh, now he's dead. Now he's on fire. So second 120 ended up coming in and finishing in the job. But now we've got Cougar surrounded by people. He's trying to make something happen against Alpha Gator. There's Alpha Gator. He's got a pull. He's only got 120s. He can't launch an AIM-9 from this position, or a 120 from this position. It's not going to have track off the rail. He's got to pull, got to pull, got to pull. And to his advantage, Assassin does not see him. He's in a great shooting position onto Alpha Gator, but I think he lost track. Launched one. That didn't track. Needs to launch another one. You're in a position to do it. There it is. Does it track? Yes. It's going for Alpha Gator. And Alpha Gator looks like he ripped his wings off. So now he is merged with Assassin. An Assassin. Nope, it's going to be Praetorian, I think. Praetorian high altitude. Assassin breaking away from the engagement. Praetorian coming in from 11,000 feet. Cougar running at 6,000 feet. 120, or ST-10 out from Praetorian. Cougar is not going to be able to do anything. Can't get into the notch fast enough. And he gets hit right in the dome by the ST-10. Alpha Gator, you may have gotten hit by a 120. It may have just been slightly desynced. The 120 was right there. It just may have been slightly desynced. Deployed emergency wing chaff. And by wing chaff, he means removing the wings from their wing root, trying to spoof that missile, but it did not work. And as quickly as that one started, 7 pilots are dead in just a few minutes. Oh.
Yeah, that was so unfortunate. I don't know what the ground collisions were. Well, I don't know what happened to number 15 there. That was a definite. That was a nail in the coffin, honestly. One after another hit the ground.
Yeah,
that is with like 5 missiles each.
I'm not sure either, but the online debrief is up.
Yep, just saving the file so I don't get any issues. 1 sec. Alright.
Got you.
Oh, you were quick that time.
I was on top of it.
Alright, let's get rid of the weird desync.
Jazz says, ground best wingman in the game. I'd rather have the ground on my side than Jester. Jester just leaves your ass sometimes. Like, see you later, and just jumps out of the cockpit. What a loser.
So going into this round, we see more of the same from both teams. A bit different here from SPQR, keeping these two ships here on the flanks, and well, the two ship in the center kind of split off a tiny bit. Both have 14, so I mean, going to use those to basically put pressure wherever they need. What number 15 did, I mean, it worked in the second round. They came back from it, creating aggression out of this preemptive defense from the Phoenixes from SPQR. Yeah, it was just very unfortunate that they had to lose 2 people. So if we go here, we can see Vertical Charlie, the first one being to go down over here. Then was it Raven? Yeah, Raven, and then that's it. I mean, Gunny is screwed here. He's 1v3 against a Tomcat, a Jeff, and a 15, who are all except the Tomcat are relatively, higher than him, and in a lot better positions to run him down. So he really doesn't have a fighting chance here, and he has to defend 2 Phoenixes at once. He does a very good job on the first one, but the second one gets him. So basically all boils down to this flank over here. Skinner and Gopnik here trade. Skinner tries to outrun a 120, couldn't line aside it. If he should have kept him to a notch, and he could have survived. And then Gopnik suffers a missile reacquiring on the other side of the hill. If he would have kept the notch, he would have survived as well. And then it's all downhill once again. I mean, they lost 2 guys to the ground, undefeated champion of the world, and from there on they're just vastly outnumbered. They just try, but then you're just gonna have these free ships this free ship just come in high and fast. And, wow, these other 2 keeping them busy. There's not really much number 15 can do here, except maybe try and pick up 1 or 2 kills. And they really don't have a chance to win this anymore, especially after Viper eaten Amram here. Cougar's left on his own against a 1v5. Cougar tries valiantly, defends this missile from Assassin coming in high and fast, notches that missile, and then as we just saw at the end there, there's this merge here. Tries to get the kill. Gets, well, he actually breaks his wings before the Amram hits him, but we'll call that a maneuver kill and the Amram hits him anyway. And then he tries to, I guess, hide, but the AWACS is going to see him here, as we can see. And we got Praetorian here, who always has line of sight on him, and there's nothing really to do. Yep. 2 SD10s. That's all she wrote.
Right. He climbed before coming into that engagement, and because he did that, there was nowhere that Cougar was going to be able to go. Even if there was better terrain, Praetorian, as he came into that engagement, had a several thousand-foot altitude advantage over Cougar, and Cougar was just dead. I mean, he was the last man against 5, so there wasn't much that he was going to be able to do anyway, or last man against 4. There wasn't much he was going to be able to do anyway, but in that position, I really liked what Praetorian did to give himself even more of an advantage, a look-down, shoot-down situation. So, guys, that brings us to the end. Go ahead.
I was just going to give a tip. So, for people wondering if you ever ripped your wings or not, a good thing to see is on TAC view. If TAC view, when you're doing a maneuver, and you see the G here, you see it gets stuck at 3.4, and you're doing a hard maneuver, that means you're putting so much G that the game can't register in time. It's just like a bug of TAC view. It means you've actually over-G'd your aircraft if you get something like that. Just a pro tip of TAC view there.
So what may have happened is, if you did rip your wings off, you ripped your wings off and then immediately got hit by a missile. So I don't think it really mattered because the shooting position of the shooting aircraft launching on, was that Alpha Gator? Who was that?
Yeah.
In that situation, yeah, Cougar's in such a good shooting position, there's not much you could do anyway. So it's either try and over-G and get into a notch or die to the incoming missile, and that's when it ended up happening. So anyway, that brings us to the end. Let me bring the cameras back up, and I'm going to change some scenes and stuff for tomorrow's stream. Going back over here. Cameras, please work. Of course Rob's doesn't work, because why would it? You know? Why would it work? Oh, it works now. Anyway. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of a great match. Let me make sure I don't have any stats for you guys in this round. I do. So let's look at the stats real quick. So we're going to change scenes here briefly. Let's take a look at the top 3 stats. So here are our top 3 performers of this match, Praetorian, Assassin, and Raven. Praetorian 4-1, Assassin 3-1, Raven 2-2. So Raven was the leader for number 15, but Praetorian and Assassin in two unlikely aircraft, Rob, I gotta say. Two very unlikely aircraft, the JF-17 and the F-18, were the leaders.
I think you meant 15.
And,
You said 18.
Oh, JF-17 and F-15 were the leaders. And Praetorian actually has a 50% almost missile shot to kill ratio.
Oh, yeah.
So that was pretty good. And Assassins is at 25%, which actually isn't bad. So great job by all three of those guys, Praetorian, Assassin, and Raven. Great job there. Let's go back over and see if the cameras again work. Work. Yeah! And that brings us to the end, ladies and gentlemen. So tomorrow's stream is going to be... Not that. Tomorrow's stream is going to be... I've got to get to it. Load up. Tomorrow's stream is going to be the Motley Crew against VTAF. And then Saturdays is going to be Grim Reapers against 343rd Naval Air Group. So tomorrow, the Motley Crew versus VTAF in Gold League 4v4. And then Diamond League 4v4 is Grim Reapers against 343rd Naval Air Group. And that's going to round out the weekend. Monday will be TFS 81 against 14th VFS Samurais, again in Diamond League 4v4. So those are the matches that are coming. Look forward to streaming to you guys again. We are always live at 1600 Zulu or roundabouts unless Moltar has greatly screwed something up. But I'm going to try and learn this and get better at this as we go. So hopefully we'll have less and less screw-ups as we move forward. But that's all we got for today, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you tomorrow, 1600 Zulu. Until then, fly safe in those virtual skies, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.